Every day when you're walking down the street, everybody that you meet has an original point of view. And I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. If you could learn to work and play and get along with each other. You got to listen to your heart, listen to the beat, listen to the rhythm of the street. Open up your eyes, open up your ears, get together and make things better by working together. It's a simple message and it comes from the heart. Oh, believe in yourself, for that's the place to start. And I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. To learn to work and play and get along with each other. What a wonderful kind of day. What a wonderful kind of day.
Hey, TW. Hey, whoa.
Every day when you're walking down the street, everybody that you meet has an original point of view. And I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. If you could learn to work and play and get along with each other. You got to listen to your heart, listen to the beat, listen to the rhythm of the street. Open up your eyes, open up your ears, get together and make things better by working together. It's a simple message and it comes from the heart. Oh, believe in yourself, for that's the place to start. And I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. To learn to work and play and get along with each other. What a wonderful kind of day. What a wonderful kind of day.
Hey, TW. Hey, whoa.
Hello. Come back to Shadowrun Hong Kong. What is it, Yo? What is it? Last time we recruited an undead samurai, cyborg samurai dude. What's going on, Dio? You need some hugs? Oh. Oh, yeah. Okay. Whoops. There we go. Oh, so pretty. So pretty. Right. We have to choose his abilities. We'll do that at some point. I believe when we ended, we just basically finished the mission and got back because the stream had run long, so we didn't talk to anyone, which we normally do. How do I... okay. Also, I have a ton of karma. You enter to find Wu stalking the floor silently, one hand held rigidly near his hip, the other flexing and unflexing, again and again. When he notices you, he nods once and goes back to his caged panther routine. Hey, don't bite me, Dio. Don't bite my hand. Hey, Dio! Dio, stop it. You're gonna wear a hole in the floor that way. Wu keeps facing. Need something? Hey, what are you gonna do? Why are you being like this? What's going on? You gonna be okay? Dio, are you gonna be okay? Yep, just trying to maintain. Pacing helps. And thinking about Josephine saying what she did to our family, what she did to Carter. His pace increases a bit, his tusks jut forward slightly. Josephine saying. Goddamn Josephine saying. We'll find a way to get to her, Duncan. Good, because when we do, the old Duncan is coming out to play. Coming out and play. Whose eyes smolder. Here's what we have to do. We walk into Sang headquarters and ask for the boss. When she comes down, we grab her, take her somewhere quiet, and ask her why she had Carter and those runners killed. I know what happened to Raymond, whether he's alive or dead. What happens next is up to her. Kidnap a member of the Hong Kong Executive Council while there's an APB out on us. Dio, be nice to Rosa. It's bold. They'll never see it coming. This is the way to go. My way. My way, Duncan? Yeah, my way. There's one way this is gonna go. He catches himself. Understanding appears in his eyes. Oh, crap. That's what Ray used to say. Raymond Black, our benevolent dictator. No questioning his rules, no falling short of his expectations. It's his way or the wrong way. Or you'd get the full-on Raymond treatment. I didn't care to be on the receiving end of that. And I was more than once, that's for sure. Remember what happened a few years after we moved out of the squat and into his house? I think with Doubletray and Lockjaw, when he accused us of relapsing back to our old ways? Man, that was when Ray's authority finally got tested. His raspy baritone was tinged with satisfaction, and I finally stood up to him. He could be pretty damn rigid, but then again, you both could be. Yeah, I know. I've been working on it, but I definitely still have my moments. Ray and I had our little pattern, didn't we? I wouldn't listen, he wouldn't listen, and we butted heads. Rinse and repeat once every few weeks. He smiles, but it's filled with regret. But that time was the worst. His face settles into an expression of resignation. Okay, Ms. Wolf, we don't need to do things my way. No need for us to butt heads. Stretches. You can hear his joints crack. And on that note, I'm going to have to ask you to clear out. It's been another long day. Getting a feeling that they're all going to be long days. Yeah, I'm getting that feeling too. Anyway, have a good night. I'll catch you tomorrow. Oh, but I want to talk to you about the last mission. Oh, darn it. Fine. Hello. Isabel's avatar flickers onto the screen. Yep. Any thoughts of the last one? We've already done these. She shakes her head. Nope. Sorry. Alright. She does want to talk about the Wampoans. It's interesting. Gobbet glances up at the sound of your approach. A slight smile across her face. Hey, pal. She puts her hands on her hips, sending madness scurrying. Are you ready for your next lesson? Absolutely. Hit me with it. Straight to business. She nods appreciatively. I like that. Good. This is one about people like Auntie Chang, why we need them. There won't be a Q&A session after the story, but I want you to listen. It's important. Well, I'm all ears. Alright, so here's the upfront lesson. Fixtures are important. You can't just go to a Johnson yourself and get a job. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. It's a bad idea all around. You want to tell me why? Because Auntie Chang and people like her serve a purpose. You get a job from her, and you can trust she's vetted the client. That's important. Protects the whole team. She takes in a breath, lets it out slowly. You, remember the lesson from last time? The one about Sui and the shiny object? Yeah. Well, after the one was over, we went back to the sinking ship for some R&R. Sui had told us that the client would be sending a boat to collect the shiny object in the morning. All we had to do was keep the thing safe until the handout. We were in a celebratory mood, killed an evil wizard, and stolen a priceless artifact. Good night's work by anyone's standards. Hanu and Egrid got good and drunk in record time. Stewie went back to his cabin at the shiny object to, I don't know, stare at it for a while or something. I retired to my cabin and crashed out. Been a long night. I remember waking up to sounds. Yelling, maybe? I was groggy, and they were far away. Couldn't quite make them out. Clock said 4:30 a.m. People were always partying in that raft, playing loud music, shooting off fireworks, that kind of thing. Loud noises early in the morning weren't unusual, but something felt off somehow. I used to get that every now and again in the Barrens. I learned to listen to it. She nods. Yeah, it's a lot like a panic attack, really. That full-body certainty that something is wrong. So I got up to investigate. If something was wrong, I wanted to know, and if it wasn't, I figured I might as well get in on the party. I stepped out of the hallway, and my foot slipped. I came down hard, landed on my ass, found myself sitting in a pool of blood. Well, that's not good. She shakes her head, grimacing. No, it was pretty bad. So it's pretty obvious by this point something had gone horribly wrong. My first thought was that the shiny object might have, I don't know, unleashed something. For what I saw doing that warehouse, I wouldn't have been surprised. Shook that off pretty quick, though. I knew what this was. Our client was playing us. Hired to steal the thing. Rather than paying us for the job, he'd sent another team to take it away. So what did you do? I got up and beelined for Malvina's cabin. She was the closest thing the sinking ship had to a leader, and the strongest rat shaman on the raft. Why go to her? Why not head straight to Sui's cabin? She stares at you blankly. Because I'm not an idiot? Sorry, it wasn't aimed at you, but think about it for a second. If there was a retrieval team coming for the shiny object, and they were strong enough to handle Sui while he was holding it, what chance would I have of stopping them? I figured it was time to bring out the big guns. Malvina was the one whom I can get them from. I passed some pretty bad stuff my way down to Malvina's cabin. His old man Shiwan's vault again, all over again. Torn up bodies, the blood-streaked floors. Saw people who'd been cut apart with machetes. Scorch marks on the container walls. She bites her lip, grimacing at the unpleasant memory stirring in her head. Deep down in the pit of my gut, I could feel the thrumming vibration of the shiny object. That heartbeat feeling that I had in the warehouse is back, stronger than ever. Whatever that rock was awake. Did you make it to Malvina's cabin? Yes. I burst through the door, all ready to spread the news. Someone smashed a gun in my face. It's Cadmus, my friend. He jammed the muzzle of his super warlock into my cheek so hard it hurt, then grabbed me by the belt with his other hand. I wasn't going anywhere. Just over his shoulder, I saw Malvina. She didn't look amused. Some friends. Yeah, well, they were under a lot of stress at the time, and I had just crashed through the door like a charging rhinoceros. She smiles weakly. Adrenaline and abject terror can make a girl do some stupid things. I'll tell you what. The smile on her face dies. She looks away. Anyway, it wasn't an attack. There were no hostile invaders on the sinking ship, and our client had nothing to do with what was going on. Turns out there was no client. Sui had lied to us, to me, because he wanted the shiny object for himself. What he wanted to do was take the sinking ship away from Malvina, so he used us to steal him something that he could use to foment a mutiny. She paused for a moment, gathers her rats in her hands, and lifts them up to her shoulders. They scurry over the leather of her coat and disappear into her hair. As it turns out, betrayal hurts, Seattle. Malvina felt it, and I felt it too. Sui had been a friend. I just risked my life to save his, like 4 hours ago, and he tricked me into helping him do something unthinkable. Why do you think he did it? Why all this over a heap of junk floating in a bay? I don't know. Maybe he'd gone toxic. Maybe he got ambitious, wanted to be king of our little aquatic hill. He didn't discuss it with me first or anything. But I'm willing to bet that something had gone wrong in Stewie long before we ever met. He's pretty damn good at hiding it. And maybe there wasn't a good reason. People do terrible things every day. Yeah, they do. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter why Stewie did what he did. All that matters is he did it. So what did you do? What could I do? Didn't have a whole lot of options, and Cadmus was kind of on edge, like red-faced and screaming. So I opened my mouth and I fast-talked my way out of it. Started off by doubling down my loyalty to Malvina, Cadmus, and the status quo on the sinking ship, swearing my undying friendship, you know the drill. Did a good job of it, but I still looked a little iffy. Iffy with a warhawk is bad, so I volunteered to prove myself by stealing the shiny object back from Sui. That was brave of you. I know, right? Not my style at all. But then I didn't really have a choice. I did inadvertently help to arm the bastard who was tearing our friends and neighbors apart. I don't think I could have cleared my name without taking his weapon away again. It was a hell of a night. I don't want to get into too much of the gory details. Friends died. Hell, friends killed each other. It's brother against brother. All that jazz. And Sui's indiscriminate use of the shiny object led a lot of things in this world that shouldn't have been. Did you wind up stealing the thing back from Sui? Yes. Wasn't easy, but I got it. How'd you manage that? Lies and misdirection, trickery. Rat helped. Some of the things that Sui let loose actually came in handy. He'd summoned so many of them that he couldn't hope to control them all. That gave me an opening to use them to my advantage. I managed to trick my way past Sui's supporters in the astral menagerie that he'd summoned. It wasn't easy, but I did it. Then I stole the shiny object, and all was right with the world. And yeah, I'm intentionally glossing over the details. I had to do some things that I'm not proud of, and people died because of it. But I got the damn thing. I got it back to Malvina. What happened then? Long story short, Malvina put the shiny object to better use than Sui ever did. She took to the thing like she'd grown up using it. She still lost dozens of people, but Sui's side lost more. Cadmus was critically wounded, but he pulled through. After the skirmish, Malvina held an assembly. She told everyone there would be new rules for life on the raft. Anyone who refused to follow them could leave. If you broke them, you were done. The rules of the sea and all that. Excuse me, sorry. After the pronouncement, she turned on the surviving mutineers. Hanu was one of them. He'd been in on Sui's plan the whole time. She didn't kill them, but she did exile them from the sinking ship, and for people in our economic bracket, that was as good as a one-way trip to the walled city. I'd be willing to bet they're all dead by now. In the wake of Malvina's ultimatum, 5 survivors left the sinking ship. I was one of them. Why did you leave? I had to go. We may have washed the blood off the decks, but the energy of the sinking ship had changed. It wasn't carefree haven that I'd loved anymore, and as sensible as Malvina's rules were, I wasn't up to living under them. We parted on good, but sad terms, and as you'd expect, we drifted apart over the years. It's funny, I hadn't even thought of Malvina or the sinking ship in years, not until I decided to teach you your previous lesson, and it all came flooding back in. She pauses, turns to you. That's the story. It's finished. But I want to circle back on the lesson that I gave you up front, because it's important. We need Auntie Chang to bring us work, that's obvious. But we also need her to keep us honest, to be sure that we, on the team, are playing straight with one another. Auntie Chang's reputation rides on the legitimacy of the job she brings us, and that, more than anything, is why we need her. If we didn't have Auntie Chang, or someone like her, we'd eventually tear ourselves apart. It happened on the sinking ship. It could happen again in Huai. So anyway, that's the lesson. If you got follow-up questions, go ahead and ask him. What did Malvina do with the shiny object? Well, first she used it to get rid of the things that Sui had let loose, then she put it away for safekeeping. It's probably still there on the sinking ship, ensconced in some shrine or other, held under lock and key. Should have tossed that thing into the bay. Yeah, agreed. I didn't like it either, but then she'd already proved that she could handle the thing, and it did help her put down Sui's mutiny. Plus she's a shaman. We deal with dangerous magic beyond mortal ken on a daily basis. It's not that weird for us. Yeah, but still. Remember that she just watched her home, the home that she was supposed to guide and protect, tear itself apart. She lost a lot of friends and failed at her duties as a leader. I think that hit her pretty hard. The shiny object she saw something that could help her keep that from ever happening again. Given the choice between tossing it and keeping it in her back pocket, well, you do the math. Like I said, I preferred it if she had ditched the thing, but in the end it wasn't my choice to make. From what little I've heard, she's still in power over there, so I guess that it worked out okay. And Sui? What happened to him? The walking colostomy bag was already dead, eaten by his own monsters after I took the shiny object away. Turns out he wasn't much good at controlling them without it. Her voice fills with grim satisfaction. Didn't even live long enough to watch his mutiny fail. Well, any thoughts about the Wampoans? You didn't bring me on our last run, so no, I don't have much to say. Wow. That was a little bit... I mean, it's true, but... Rosa? Yes, I heard you. Do you need to come up here? Need some cuddles? Oh. What's going on? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna go up on the desk? Or... Yeah? You gonna lay on my lap? No? What do you want to do? She's deciding. Okay, that's... Oh, you're poking at Dio's tail under the monitor. Dio's behind the computers. Okay, I need you to get... okay. Yeah, I just need you to not be in front of the monitor. Wherever you want to go. Sure. In Seattle. Thanks for listening. These lessons are for your benefit, but I think they help me too. It's nice to be taken seriously every now and again. No, I get so many options to give her shit. No problem, Gobbit. I'll look forward to the next one. Her face lights up. Yeah, me too. I gotta move on. I've got Gobbit things to do. Alright. Dio, be nice to Rosa. Let's talk to Ractor. My friend, there's something I would like to discuss with you. Something related to the Ares run that you recently accepted. You may recall a story about my former colleagues, Taylor, Hardingham, the ones who stole my research. They work at that facility. If the auto repair circuits that they took from me still exist, they are there. I need you to bring me on the run to retrieve them. Of course, you'll be the first man on the train when we head out. Thank you, my friend. You will not regret this decision. I guarantee it. Rector's shop is curiously silent. As you step down onto the grated metal floor, the sound of your own footsteps reverberates through the echo chamber of the converted engine room. Welcome back, my friend. Leans against the decks. Is there something I can do for you? Quiet night in the shop, huh? Yes, a quiet night. Takes a drag on a cigarette. One best suited for contemplation, planning, and visions of the future. Any thoughts about that last run? The Wampoans may be a socially maladjusted group, but I find their philosophies quite compelling. I suspect there's a fair amount of overlap between theirs and the future and my own, which is just further evidence that you're both have bad visions of the future. Your decision to stare at the elders was a fortuitous one. I look forward to communicating with them at length about their belief system and steps they're taking in accordance with it. Something to look forward to, I suppose. Now, what else would you have of me? Care to pick up where we left off last time? I don't remember where we left off. His smile widens, light gleams off of strong, sharp teeth, lending him a predatory appearance. If you like. I must confess, I have rather enjoyed our talks. It's good to have a sounding board to bounce ideas off of. Yeah, it's like sounding board, huh? Is that what I am to you? A figure of speech. Please forgive me. I am by nature a solitary creature. I must confess that I sometimes forget how to interact with others. You are more than a sounding board. You are my equal and a friend. Koshai scuttles forward, mechanical pedipalps weaving. Its motions are as alien and charged with menace as they've ever been. Raptor glances at the machine and it takes a step back. Is it jealous? Each returns his attention to you with a smile. Enough of this maudlin talk. You had questions for me. Go ahead and ask them, please. I will answer whatever I can. said you sometimes forget how to interact with people? I mean, it's pretty obvious. An idiosyncrasy of mine, I suppose. When I get lost in my own head, relating to others becomes difficult. He smiles apologetically. It's nothing personal, just a quirk I occasionally struggle to hide. Ooh! I guess we'll say he's been doing a pretty good job of it. I'm being nice to everyone. But you came down here, we talk about things that are relevant to my interests. That makes it easier. In any case, thank you. Your kindness is appreciated. I mean, that's true. We do just talk about whatever he wants to talk about. The last time you talked, you hinted at Koshai being special in some way. Wanted to hear the whole story. Yes, I figured you might. Tell me, have you noticed anything unusual about Koshai in the time we've worked together? He seems to react to your moods. It's weird. He's almost more like an animal than he is a drone. He nods, his lips pursed. Yes, a good observation. Koshai's behavior could be described as animalistic, and for good reason. And, do you want to tell me what that reason is? The drone lowers itself, its killing legs splayed. Ragnar looks at the drone, his head cocked, then he returns his gaze to you. His behavior is not drone-like, because he is not a drone. At least, not in a way which you would understand. He's a prosthesis. Prosthesis? What is he meant to replace? He isn't meant to replace anything, but he does contain a portion of me, as surely as your brain sits within your skull. We are, in a way, a singular entity in two bodies, metal and flesh made one. Oh, fuck. I like that there's this guy in here who's just like, I know this is a Shadowrun game, but have you heard of Eclipse Phase? You're gonna have to explain that. Koshai acts as a home for my primal animal impulses, the id, to use Freud's structural model of the psyche. The analytical parts of my mind, the ego and the superego, live on in me. They govern the id, and by extension, Koshai's behavior. That's nonsense, by the way. When we're on a run, and I rig into Koshai, I do not command him to attack. Rather, I loosen my grip on his reins and allow him to kill. He wants to hunt, to dominate, to bathe himself in blood. Reproduction would also be a drive if such a thing were possible. So if you were killed, Koshai would, what? Run amok? He chuckles. No, my friend, of course not. Koshai is not capable of storing any part of the human mind. He simply doesn't have the capacity for it. If I were to die, he would fall dormant, same as any other drone. One day, perhaps I will perfect him, and a part of me will live on in his chassis after the meat of my body dies. But for now, I'm satisfied to live with him as a combined entity, man and machine, joined through a form of neural parabiosis into a single being. Beautiful first step to a post-human future. Fuck. Daimon says, is that why Koshai keeps trying to hump my leg? Hi, Daimon. These are both like negative, but I guess this is less negative. I guess that if I have to know a mad scientist, I'm glad that he's on my side. He snickers. Well said, my friend, and the feeling is mutual. If I must associate with violent criminals, I suppose that I'm happy to call them friends. I mean, you are also a violent criminal, buddy. I am not a mad scientist. Okay, so you've rigged your drone to act as a home to your most destructive impulses? I've got to ask, why? As a proof of concept, primarily. There are other advantages, of course. I shouldn't have to explain the value of a combat drone that wants to kill. You actually do need to explain that. I don't think that that's very straightforward. that is definitely not an obvious. Alright, but I guess that's the end of that conversation. Tell me why you think we're going to beat the essence limit. You hinted at it before, but I want to know. I could do that. I've already shared quite a lot with you. and you haven't run off screaming. Good sign, I should think. He studies your face, peering at you through the gloom. But tell me, Cade, are you certain that you want to know? Some secrets are less pleasant than others. You might prefer to leave this stone unturned. Well, this is gonna be fun. I want to know whatever you have to tell me, Ractor. I don't run from things just because they're unpleasant. I mean, that's kind of literally the character's backstory, right? Is they ran from things that were unpleasant. But I think she would say that she doesn't. Very good. There are things you don't know about me, my friend. Important things. I'm dead. I mean, this guy's clearly a vampire, right? Please tell me this doesn't end with you hitting on me. I don't think that Ractor... What kind of things? For one, I am not, how to put it, whole. What do you mean by that? There was an accident when I was young. Shop accident. I barely survived it. I am very heavily cybered, my friend. You wouldn't know it because I keep my enhancements hidden. Others have found them disturbing in the past. What sort of enhancements are we talking about? He uses the edge of his hand to trace a line across his hips. Everything from below the mid-pelvis is a replacement material. That's where I was sheared in half, you see. It's a miracle that I survived the experience. Blood loss alone should have killed me. But here I am, alive and well. Greatly improved, in point of fact. Hang on, you lost everything below the hips? But is he fully functional? Yes, a traumatic loss to be sure, but not so terrible as you might think. By every conceivable measure, I have been improved since the time of the accident. I am more than I was before, not less. Theo, stop it! Oh, it's Rosa. Hi, Rosa. Will you stop it too? It's usually Dio doing that. Oh, come here. Come here. Why don't you come sit with me? Or you can go lay on the bed, and I can turn the camera on. Mwah. No? Okay. You lost half your body. How could that not be terrible? Taps his temple with a finger. Doing a meme. Doctors installed stimulus generators in my brain when they repaired me. With these, I can mimic the full range of sensations that the human body is capable of producing. Imagine the ramifications of such a thing. The things that you could do, the things you could experience. The implications for operant conditioning alone are staggering. That's a weird place to jump to. And so, yes, I have lost the entire lower half of my body. Full ramifications of such a loss are obvious. But in return, I have gained so much more. At will, I can goad my brain into producing whatever sensation I wish. I can poke at the wiring of my own consciousness, and I can reroute that wiring as I see fit. What? Why would that... It's the lower half. Like, he's got metal legs. And I guess a metal... Like that... Like, he just basically has metal legs. And maybe a little bit of his waist. Why does it have to do with his consciousness? People have metal legs. There's the, wheelchair guy who has, like, all his cyber arms on the shit. Alright, so you're half machine. What does this have to do with the essence limit? He spreads his arms. Look at me, Cade Wolf. I have a shred of essence left in me, and only barely that. But I suffer none of the effects associated with traumatic essence loss. We talked about before that essence loss is a really, really bad concept, and it shouldn't be a thing. And therefore, I'm not very wary of any kind of discussion of it, even if it's from the point of we can get rid of it. But I guess it's baked into the setting. I mean, I'd rather just don't comment on it and just have cyborgs, but how can that be? A quirk of psychology, long viewed as an illness, but never properly understood. I'm also really worried about this stuff. What I now understand to be an evolutionary adaptation to a post-human future. We will conquer the essence limit given time. Natural selection will see to it, and I am the proof. I guess I don't get to ask any questions about that, but that's a weird statement to make. These stimulus generators that you've been implanted with, how do they work? Technology is rather akin to SimSense, but considerably more powerful and flexible. Most SimSense experiences, those found in DTL chips for example, are structured around basic narratives to provide their users with context. But if you strip away the veneer of escapist fantasy, what you have left is an extremely powerful toolkit. Never heard anything like that on the market, not even in the shadows. I'm not surprised. They're Russian technology, government funded, quite experimental. He sucks on his cigarette, a thoughtful expression on his face. I mean, it was done when you were a kid. It's been like decades since then. They shouldn't be experimental now. The project was cancelled shortly after I received my implants. Oh, okay. Something about graft and corruption on the administrative level. Yet another example of good science derailed by bad politics. But then, like, no one picked it up? Have you heard of anyone else who's gotten these implants? I know a handful of other recipients. From what I've heard, the others were all driven quite mad. To be under control over the inner workings of one's own brain is a tremendous responsibility. He shrugs. Perhaps the others were less well equipped to handle it than I am. Be careful with those things, Rector. The last thing I need is you wigging out on me. I've carried these implants for over 20 years, my friend. I know how to handle myself. You have nothing to fear. So what else have you been keeping from me? I know there's a lot more to the story than this. There is, my friend, but nothing that can't wait till tomorrow. You have a lot to process, I'm sure, and I would like the remainder of the image to myself. But if you come back later, I will finish the tale. Sure, Ractor. We'll talk tomorrow. Very good. Rest well. See yourself out! He's like, you know how this works. Leave. Alright, let's talk to our zombie samurai friend. Storage room that functions as Gaichu's cabin is a cramped, overheated mess. Piles of old ship parts share space with tarnished cookware, flats of instant noodles, and a collection of cast-off clothes and reams of diagnostic manuals for obsolete computer hardware. To top it all off, there's barely any light whatsoever. All the bulbs in this room are missing. Gaichu is busily moving boxes around, apparently in an effort to carve out some personal space amid the junk that he shares his cabin with. As you enter, he cocks his head and turns around. Welcome to my sanctuary. I apologize for the lack of light, but as I did not need it, Gaba took the bulbs for use elsewhere. I really thought this is where I really want to know where Ractor sleeps now, because I thought he slept down here. Gaichu puts down the box that he's in the process of moving and politely bows his head towards you. How can I be of assistance? I just wanted to see how you're settling in. Gaichu rolls his shoulders in a diffident shrug. I'm among those who can make use of the services and who are not attempting to claim a bounty on my head. Is that not enough for now? Any thoughts about that last run? Gaichu shrugs, blinking a few times in surprise. What do you expect me to say? You've allowed me to live, invited me into your home, or boat if you prefer, and have given me means to earn an income and use my particular set of talents. I am pleased with this. While I understand your desire to keep the elders alive to preserve whatever goodwill exists between you and the Wempones, I worry that such softness sends the wrong message to those in the underworld. There's a time for truth, and there's also time for sending a message. Is there anything else I can do for you? Let's talk about your condition, being a ghoul. Gaichu inclines his head. As you wish, you're my benefactor, and as such, I yield to you. Ask then. I will do my best to answer. Aside from being blind, how has it affected you? Aside from my heightened senses of smell and hearing, I'm stronger, tougher, and more resilient than any mundane human. I can achieve feats of physicality that are normally restricted to adepts and those with extensive enhancements. Gaichu lifts one hand, fingers crooked to show off his elongated nails. Claws, really. These as well. as sharp as any small knife. I prefer my sword, but in a grapple, they come in extremely handy. He draws one nail over the surface of his shoulder blades. A hair-fine spiral of armor peels off the nail's wake. Can you turn into mist or anything? He's not actually a vampire, but... Do you still need to sleep? Gaichu chuckles, his laughter rasping out over his lips. Unfortunately, I do. I'm not an undead creature of legend. If I manage to unlock the secret of rest without sleep, I will be certain to inform you. It seems like your condition has stabilized. For now it has. I will not suddenly become a ravenous beast lurking in the hold of your ship. At least, no more so than I already am. Gaicho bares his teeth in a wry grin, drooping his head a little. Why'd you pick the name Gaichu, anyway? It was given to me. This is what the Japanese called ghouls, for the most part. I am vermin, a thing shunned by polite society, to be hunted and slain for a bounty. My old life is gone. It seemed as apt a name for the streets as any other that I could choose. I like that attitude. Turns the tables of power. Gaichu dips his head in agreement. One does not defeat the enemy solely by strength of arms. One must turn one's own weaknesses into strengths. It's an old and valuable lesson, too often forgotten. Your armor is heavier than what most Shadowrunners wear, and more distinctive, too. Gaichu nods, growling his assent. That is correct. It is the armor worn by the elite soldiers of the Renraku corporate military, the Red Samurai. I mean, elite soldier. Yeah, those are the Renraku special forces. Correct. Most elite soldiers that the corporation can muster, trained in the highest and most exacting level possible. They are assigned only to the most dangerous, difficult, and important missions. Things other units would balk at even discussing. How'd you manage to steal a suit of their armor? The corner of Gaichu's mouth curls up into the smallest of grins. I did not steal it. It is mine. You were a Red Samurai. Indeed. For the entirety of my adult life, I was a member of the Renraku military, specifically the Red Samurai. That changed relatively recently. I feel the reasons are abundantly clear. Hence, I still possess my armor, my sword, my training. They have served me well both in my previous life and in this one. Did you grow up in a corporation? Yes, in Keihanshin, the Kyoto-Osaka-Kobe sprawl. It's less populated than New Tokyo, but not by much. I grew up in East Kobe, where my father was posted in a Renraku complex. Gaichu roots around in a nearby box, running his fingertips over several chips before deciding on one. He slots it into his PDA, and a trid photo flickers to life in the space between you. A young man, obviously Gaichu. Obviously? I'm not sure I would recognize a childhood non-ghoul picture of him. Leans against a railing which overlooks a sprawling harbor complex of skyscrapers and cranes. His school uniform is ripped, and the beginnings of a black eye are forming. Abrasions cover his knuckles, and blood dots his pants. Despite this, he's grinning like he's just won the lottery. Vibrant, fierce. You look a little beat up. Haha, that must be on Mount Maya. If I remember right, I gave better than I got in that fight. 3 against 1, but they were out of shape and cocky. I used to cause a lot of trouble when I was in school. My father was constantly raging that I had no sense of responsibility, and I needed to take life more seriously. Cackle erupts from Gaichu, sudden mirth spreading across his face. The final straw was when he bailed me out of jail. I've been in jail a few times. What did you do? My friend and I stole a delivery van. It had a shipment of Shiabuyaze SimSense decks. Brand new. Very expensive. We were going to fence them and use the money to take a trip to Okinawa. Gaichu pauses, cocking his head. Are you familiar with what it's like to grow up in a corporate family? I know a thing or two about it. Then you understand how it is. Children are encouraged to participate in acts of vandalism against rival corporations. Unfortunately, we were caught by Shinwaze's security, not Renraku. What'd your father do? Gaichu clicks his tongue a few times. He seems reluctant to continue. That's a story for another time, unfortunately. I still have a lot of arranging to do, and I doubt anyone else will be willing to be alone with me in a darkened room. Come back later. We can discuss it further. Okay, if that's what you want. Gaichu bows politely. It is, and thank you again for your hospitality. Alright. Getting everybody's stories. Oh, this is the box of mementos. Gaichu's box of personal effects is overflowing with a collection of souvenirs, mementos, and knickknacks. There's no rhyme or reason to the collection of items. They appear to have been thrown in haphazardly. Laying atop the box are a collection of antique Japanese coins inside an overturned wooden mask and a black lacquered box with gold inlay. Gaichu cocks his head, sniffing the air in your direction. Ah, I see you found my box of personal effects. Please, feel free to examine whatever you like within it. Just take care to put them back when you're done. I do not own much, but the things I keep are very precious to me. They are all that remains of my former life. Examine the wooden mask. The wooden mask is extremely light. It's been painted a pale white, and the surface almost as smooth as porcelain, although it lacks the sheen of lacquer. The face's traits are delicate, almost feminine, and feature lifted eyebrows, bright red lips, and delicately carved teeth. The teeth have been stained a deep black, barely visible past the slightly parted lips. The expression, while kindly, is ambiguous and uncanny. Viewed from above, the expression is one of calm contentment. Shifting the mask to view at an upper angle causes the expression to seem melancholy, almost pained. What's this wooden mask, Gaichu? It is a mask from the historical No play, Ikuta Atsumori. The face is that of a young samurai, Taira no Atsumori. Gaichu faces your direction, gesturing toward the mask. I had a collection of a dozen or so No masks when I was younger. That is the last remaining one, and my personal favorite. What's the difference between a normal play and No? No actors wear those masks to cover their faces. The angle they hold themselves at changes the expression on the mask, so the acting is highly rigid and controlled. The entire performance is highly ritualized. There's no measure of improvisation allowed, only refinement of the prescribed form. Gaichu folds his arms over his chest, dipping his chin in thought. The words are sung, like in a Western opera, and accompanied by a set of musicians, known as a hayashi. The hayashi keeps time with several drums, a flute, and a chorus. A chorus in the Greek theatrical sense, I mean. Unfortunately, No is unpopular art in modern times. I expect this is because all the plays are conducted in classical Japanese, which is not comprehensible to the general public. I have heard that the creators of No, a father and son in the 14th century, took inspiration from magical rituals at Shinto shrines. It is said that by placing masks upon their faces, the actors become possessed by the spirit of the character they play. There are worse fates, I think, than to embody the spirit of a tragic warrior like Atsumori. And what's the play about? A young man travels with the priest who raised him to Ikuta Shrine to commune with the spirit of his father, Taira no Atsumori. The young man's father died at the Battle of Ichi no Tani when the son was only a baby, and he wishes to know who his father was. The pair stay at the night in a small hut. In the night, the hermit in the hut explains that he is the ghost of Atsumori. Diamond said, yes, the only people who go to No play these days are street samurai. He was a corporate samurai originally. I suppose he was wealthy. If he was like corporate special forces. Atsumori has been granted a brief reprieve from his time in the afterlife to meet his son. During the night, they speak of the battle in which Atsumori was killed, the history of the Taira family, and their philosophy. Atsumori fades into darkness as he finishes the tale of the Taira's downfall, just as the family itself faded into obscurity. So think we, yet oh that we might change this fragile dream of joy into the lasting love of waking life, says Atsumori, before fading. It is a tale of sorrow, love, and the burden of war upon the dead and living alike. The price one pays for war is not always in one's own blood alone, but in the shattering of one's own family. Why is that your favorite? Gaichu smiles, expressing distance. A measure of civic pride, I suppose, and I like the story. Taira no Atsumori died at the Battle of Ichi no Tani, just outside Kobe. The play takes place primarily at Ikuta Shrine, which is located in downtown Kobe. In old cities in Japan, especially in Keihanshin, I have always felt there is a sense of history wherever one looks. The skyline may have skyscrapers and delivery drones, but the foundations are laid on the bones of the dead. Gaichu shrugs, folding his arms across his chest. I think it is important to remember their sacrifices, and joys, sorrows, and glories. Gaichu laughed suddenly, shaking his head. This is why sometimes I worry that I am a sentimentalist at heart. The mental image of the audience of a No play being entirely buff, edgy dudes with cyber limbs and assault rifles slung over their backs is bringing me great entertainment. Yeah, he compared it to opera, so it's like imagining European mercenaries at like the audience for Wagner or something, which I guess is not. I can see that, but definitely not the natural image. Examine the lacquered box. The box is a deep, glossy black cube. The edges and corners are rounded rather than sharp, and the gold flake inlay across the surface glitters even in the dim lighting of the room. Sliding the top off, the interior contents are revealed. A calligraphy set, complete with inkstone and block, brushes, and paper. Gaichi wrinkles his nose, his expression one of distaste. Ugh, that thing. It's a beautiful set, but it's a shame I am unable to make use of it. Surely you used to be able to. Gortru snorts derisively, stifling laughter. No, my handwriting has always been absolutely terrible. Whatever fanciful stories you may have heard of being able to tell a swordsman's ability by his handwriting, I assure you, they are wrong. The set was a gift from a professor of Japanese literature. He appreciated my interest in the classics, the tale of the Heike, the tale of Genji, the collection of 10,000 Leaves, etc. I think he wished to encourage me to cultivate non-martial interests. Yeah, this is a fucking rich kid. Went to some prep school. Gaichu smiles crookedly and shrugs, and then went into, like, corporate officer training or something. I appreciated the gesture, but my attempts at fine calligraphy mostly resembled excited chickens prancing over paper, their feet soaked in ink. Alright. So, we gotta go to the computer. And I guess technically we can sleep. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4 jobs. Oh, we have one unread message. Oh. Hey, Seattle. I think I can get a little context to that thing between Auntie and Josephine saying, the thing that makes Auntie hit the sauce and talk revenge. This is a combo of stuff I heard and stuff I put together myself, so your mileage may vary. For years, the Yellow Lotus acted as tax collectors within the walled city. Since the walled city was built by Josephine Sang and the Yellow Lotus was run by Auntie Chang, they must have had a working business relationship, for a while at least. From what Nightjar told me, he was her favorite. You got that right. Auntie was known as a real up-and-comer back then. She was on the fast track to be the next Yellow Lotus 438. That's a big deal gig, Seattle. Money and power galore. Now, you need to know that there were a lot of triads and corps doing business in the walled city. All sorts of stuff. Sometimes they work together nicely, and sometimes people get bloody. The way I heard it, Auntie came up with some sort of grand plan to consolidate business in the walled city. The power would be split between Yellow Lotus and Sang's company, and everyone else would get cut out. If her plan worked, Auntie would rise in the Lotus like nobody's business, and Josephine Sang would make long bank. Nope. Nope. Yes. Look at that. There's a catch, though. In order for the plan to work, both women would need to jump through a lot of hoops. There'd be street-level maneuvering and power plays on Annie's side, blackmail and negotiations on the corporate level from Josephine Sang. My info gets sketchy here. From what I pieced together, Sang went behind Auntie's back, took her plan to her boss, 438 named Wong Lun Fat. They cut kindly out of her own plan. Why'd Sang do that? My guess is that she saw Auntie as some sort of threat. People in the know say that Wong Lun Fat is weak and greedy. She can be manipulated if her palms remain well greased. Long story short, power was consolidated in the walled city, just like Annie planned, only she didn't wind up getting any of it. Her climb up the Lotus Ladder came to an abrupt halt. She's still a straw sandal, just like she was before. Sang backstabbed her, and now she's stuck in Hioi like a fly in amber. I'd be pissed too if it were me. No. Open the jobs directory. Claim payment. The Wampoans tell me that they've ousted all of their council of elders. Something to do with you exposing their efforts to cover up their own mess. Isn't the resolution I expected, but I think it's acceptable. If there's one thing I don't trust, it's people who won't pay what they owe. Thankfully, the Wampoans are more reliable than Ing and her allies. And so am I. Your payment is attached. I don't think she paid us very much for that, but... the BBS! Do I have any? I don't have any pay data. Do I have any pay data to claim? I do. Yay! Oh, I got a whole 150. Hey, Cade. I was able to cut out the proprietary bits of the files we recovered that work a few new yen, but there was a lot of junk data that none of the buyers wanted. I decided to archive the leftover paperwork, requisitioning orders, etc. Nothing special, but I figured I'd keep it on hand. Interesting. Looking for Decker. Looking for experienced Decker for a discreet milk run on a low-level corporate lab. Potential for a longer-term arrangement. We're a team that's been together for years, running your basic heist, occasional transport gig, got a reliable fixer, and a long list of happy clients. Requirements. You must not take experimental sims during runs. You must have a good sense of humor. Weren't you just looking for Decker a little while back? I saw your ad, but I was wrapping up a one-time run with an old partner who's moved away. I'd be interested in meeting. Isn't Muffin Top Ninja your phys ad? Did someone call my name? Hey, MTN. Long time no beer. We gotta catch up, Sensei. Bring me on as your Decker. I guess the kid who answered your last ad didn't work out? That's an understatement. I think we can count on you not to consume any drugs during runs, most specifically drugs that are part of the payload. Fatal, experimental drugs that were part of the payload. Ouch. It's not even a rookie error, it's just a lack of common sense. Real shame. Anyway, I'm glad you're on board, Runs. We're not gonna have a problem with you. Want to trade eyes? We'll take anything. If only you'd seen what I seen with your eyes. I acquired a huge supply of cutting-edge cybernetic eyes. My fence did a runner, so I've got eyes up to my eyeballs, as it were. Make me an offer. You got the whole 9 yards. 2010 vision, camera, low light, and thermographic modes. One size fits all. Sold in pairs only. Box set. Colors. Brown, blue, violet, hazel, green, green flecked with gold, chrome. Yeah, and you gotta install them yourself. Trade you a Ranger Arms SM3. Comes with a matching briefcase. Deal. Message me. Can I swap your old cyber eyes for a new... my old cyber eyes for a new set? Seriously, anything but that. Can I buy one blue and one brown eye? No, but you can buy 2 pairs. Sheesh. Uncle C's House of Pork. If anybody ever in the hankering, you go to Uncle C's House of Pork at Tayo, I can only say one thing. For all the love of all that's holy, don't. I haven't been able to leave my house in 2 days. The only reason I can even post here is because the RA is override on my deck. What did you eat? Maybe you're just unlucky. All I had were some shumai and ribs. It's pretty basic, hard to mess up. Unlucky is when I get a bad orange at the market. This isn't unlucky. This is something else. This is some kind of vile, gastrointestinal sorcery. Oh my god. I only ate there once. Once! I still have nightmares. It felt like I'd eaten a wasp nest if the wasps were made of rusty razors and also on fire. I thought I was being clever by getting the pulled pork sandwich tonight there. Nope. Aside from basically being a pile of congealed sludge and the bread being moldy, it was a week before I could hold anything more solid than hold down anything more solid than kanji. What, are you all a bunch of children? Yeah, the kitchen's dirty, but I've eaten there dozens of times. Not once have I gotten sick. Grow up and learn to eat adult food. Wait a second. Aren't you that person who was raving about that food court in the corner of Kimberly and Observatory? You told me to get the yuzu glazed horse tripe? Yeah, how'd you like it? Pretty good, huh? If by good you mean the consistency of tar and old tires, yes. The tripe must have been a week or more old, and I'm pretty sure I smelled rot once the initial citrus blasts were off. Take note. This user's advice on food is not to be trusted. Oh god, reading that actually got me to push past the RAS override. Now my deck is covered in vomit. Thanks, guys. I mean it. Nothing you love more than being sick and disgusting. Walled City embezzlement history. I'm uploading another Walled City report. This one's old, from just after they built it. I ended up digging into the history of the place. It's just archival plain text. Oh, this is from Isabel. Wait, why did she say putting this on the thing and not to us? Consolidated Press, Hong Kong desk. Sang Mechanical Services was again accused in a joint lawsuit headed by Wuxing Inc. of embezzling hundreds of millions of new yen during the construction of the Walled City low-income housing project. The plaintiffs filed an official complaint on Monday, stating that construction contractors have been heavily pressured by Sang to use cheap construction techniques, while not kickbacks, graft, and misrouting of funds caused several hundred million new yen to vanish. Sang's legal team strenuously objected to the accusations, citing lack of proof and the corporation's own damaged fortunes. Legal team spokesman Lee Kui-shan had this to say: "The walled city contract was a disaster for my client. The project was sabotaged at every turn by union activists and competing corporations. TMS struggled heroically to complete the project, despite this interference. The parties have now added insult to injury by fabricating charges of malfeasance based on the very obstacles which they themselves created. This has truly become theater of the absurd." Is it true? According to Consolidated Press financial analyst Gertrude Schoen, it seems unlikely. Sang has struggled financially since the Walled City project. Sang stock, ticker symbol TMQ, Hong Kong and Tokyo exchanges, is trading at around 40% of its peak, which it reached just after receiving the Walled City contract 4 years ago. Although investigators have indicated there is evidence of possible misconduct, no misappropriated funds have been found, and CEO Josephine Sang recently sold her Victoria Peak estate, citing financial difficulties. If TMS or the Sang family have benefited from stolen Walled City funds, they're not showing it. Mrs. Sang could not be reached for comment. I always thought that Sang rocketed to success in the back of the Walled City. They sure trumpet that in their PR. Yep, it's a brilliant piece of historical revisionism. The Walled City was a huge loss of face at the time, but somehow they've rebranded the whole fiasco over the last couple of decades. Maybe their underbidding made them seem like a real sucker, brought in the contracts. Isabel, I find the fact you posted a financial article to be charming. White Prism, did you just hit on Izzo? Amanita's gonna skin you. No, that's just WP. He's incapable of flirting. Would you date a woman named Amanita and then try to charm someone else on the BBS? WP is just an aggro mentad with a poor social filter. You two must have an interesting relationship. Let's just say we radically complement each other. Alright. Should we go to sleep? Questionable. We do have money. Should we use our money? Can I see what's in our... Can I see what's in my stash? There we go. So in my stash I have this, which requires... What does it require? Spellcasting 7. Thank you. Which is annoying. Yeah, it's gonna take a lot to get to 7. I don't have enough to get to 7. Let's see, so we have this, we have wisdom is at 5, intelligence is at... No, this. Oh, this is only it. Let's go out here. I guess let's go talk to people. We didn't do that last time, right? All the people out here? I don't think. Nothing new to report. I'd like to see your wares. So we did at least get... Whoops. No, I don't want another one. I was just wanting to look at the stats. We got that. We could get more armor, but I don't really care. Spells or conjuring. So haste 3, that'd be nice. I don't know that I can equip that though. Haste 3 is the main thing, and I'm pretty sure Gavit already has it. So spells, if we look at this... It's not bad. Does also require 7. Oh, that's a lot of damage. We could get that. Basically all our money, but we're not using the money on anything else. That's reasonable. think that's probably good, actually. I mean, we can't equip it yet. We do have to actually go get that, but that's fine. So we have to go get 5. Please? Thank you. I don't understand why these barriers are specifically here. Oh, I do actually probably need to get a better board at some point, but then I had to spend that too, so. Let's go talk. Let's see if we can talk to people. I don't. Oh, website. Skip through that. I, for one, enjoyed Kate's visits. Hint of a smile touches Lau's lips as Jin grumbles to himself. How can we help you? Just wondering if you're still having dreams. This again? Don't you have anything better to do? Yes, we're all still having the dreams. His voice is calm but troubled. However, we've gotten a hell of a lot worse. Jin shifts uncomfortably. Look, let's not go into detail. This information could help others. If I tell you, will you go away? Sure. Nods approvingly, then glances at Lao and Shu. Our dreams become unpleasant. I'm pretty sure we've already had this. Come out of them in a daze sometimes, just like we've been punished in the senses. And the imagery, well, I said no details. Yeah, we definitely already did this. Oh no. Reliable Matthew stands quietly in his drone lot, arms hanging limply at his sides. He stares silently at the ground. This isn't the soft-spoken style of many Hong Kongers. He looks sad. Looks up briefly as you approach, looks back at the ground. Hey, Cade. He mumbles his words softly. What's going on? You can see for yourself. Matthew mumbles something under his breath. After a moment, he looks up suddenly. Can you do me a favor, Cade? I can't leave the lot right now. What's the favor? I was supposed to get my medicine this morning, but I overslept. Can you get it from Ambrose for me? 10-armed Ambrose? Sure. Thanks. Hmm. Maximum law. Law speaking to the air as you approach. His bulky goggles flash with an unusually diverse array of conditions lights. Yo, T0, gotta go, man. This is the cat I was telling you about. The goggle servers whine softly as a set of lenses focus on you. Cade, Wolf, what's going on? What have you been up to? My notoriety precedes me, I see. Hey, that's what you get for being vicious. So what can I hook you up with today? Your elders hired a ghoul assassin to... I know! Those piss-drinking, pig-sucking... Law erupts into a torrent of livid, awkward profanity. Some sort of pidgin of Cantonese and tech speak. Catches himself short. Pulls himself back together and clenches his fists. You know what? Whose fault this is? She always had it in for Magpie, because Magpie was a genius. That turbo-snorting woo-woo idiot and her lackeys almost destroyed the Wampoa network. He folded his arms across his chest. I hope they string the bones of those morons from the gutters with a bunch of monofilament wire from the blissed autofab. Law pauses and looks over you. I've heard all the rumors, but what's the full story? What do you know? We need to post this date out to the whole tribe. Before I go on, you seem fond of Maggie. Magpie was the best of the little bunch. Magpie, sorry. She was a wicked coder and a noble hot dicker. Plus, she knew the infrastructure. Those of us in Magpie's bus maintained the shadow nets. That's what keeps Wampoa independent. Now we've lost Magpie and half the other elders. All the skill base is gone. All because Ing got a bunch of cruft in her boards. It was her fault, I'm telling you. Sure. I'll tell them the story. They didn't pay me for silence. He listens in prolonged silence as you lay it all out. When you're done, he shakes himself, as if awaking from a bad dream. Whoa. Law seems stunned. For real? Man, this is gonna go down in tribal lore, Cade. Here, this is the cred stick I keep on hand for when people have special information. Take it. You've earned it. Kinda wanna think now. And share files. That we can't talk about. You gotta go? Okay. Watch your back and shoot straight and all. Maul grins at you and dexterously flashes the hand sign the Shadowrunners give each other, and Hollowit shows. I got things to do, too. Maximum law. You catch Henry Cafe lost in his reverie, staring at a wall plastered with photos, and while most are signed celebrity headshots, there's scattered among them more personal image from days long past. Lots of faces on this wall, lots of strangers staring back at me. These aren't friends of yours? No, just rich strangers with the publishers trying to lacquer them in street cred. We get the occasional SimSen star or athlete, surrounded by an entourage of muscle and photographers. It's all for their image, you see. They want a stack of carefully staged photographs that seem like paparazzi shots in a notorious underworld hideout in Arms Bazaar. Henry smiles sardonically. If we really were all that, the HKPF would have bombed us by now. Club 88 is a neutral zone. Ermine deals mostly in small arms. We clear the joint, let them stage things wherever they like, throw a few tattooed out blue lanterns in the background. In exchange, we get a big stack of new yen and a glossy face on the wall to show how popular our club's become. Cunley locks all Huey down for the visit. Those fame bunnies are safer here than they probably are in their own penthouses. It's all my wife's idea, of course. She's got a good head on her shoulders. Calum's lucky he's got her brains. I'm afraid Frederick takes after his old man. Was it you who first started running guns through here? Heard about that, did you? Loose lips. But yeah, I took a turn as a small-time smuggler. Less excitement than you might think. Never really made all that much extra money doing it either. Had it been riskier, I never would have bothered. But our boat's engineer was a good friend of mine. He was in on the deal. He could tug away those crates in the engine room where only he knew where they existed. I just had to shepherd them on and off the boat. Probably could have negotiated better deals, but I just wanted to be rid of the stuff as fast as I could. Didn't want Wu Xing to find out. I especially didn't want Ermine to find out. But find out she did, though she surprised me with her reaction. Thought she would throw a fit, but the only thing she was mad about was my profit margin. So she took over. Tell me about you and Ermine. She and I grew up together here in Huey. We were childhood sweethearts. But how often do such things last? Then back in 21, when we were both 18 and unsure of our futures, we both goblinized. That was what turned... The world was turned on its head. People said it was a disease, the result of a biological weapon. There was panic everywhere. But Ermine and I saw it differently. We saw it as a sign that we were meant to be. It didn't matter if we were lepers, because we were lepers together. Wish I could say she was the first and only love in my life, but there'll always be another. I heeded her call for too long before finally settling down here with Ermine. Even so, that call is always there, tempting me to go back, be lost forever. Worse ways to go, I suppose. I do my best to resist, try to focus on what Ermine has built here for us. Aww. Who is this lady? Oh. It's El Duce, excuse me. Looks like an old lady. Callum sits with his eyes closed with his head back. One might assume he's asleep or trying to shake a particularly nasty hangover. But when he stirs, his eyes are clear and uncharacteristically focused. Cade, right. What brings you back? I see your memory works fine when you're clear-headed. I suppose it does, and I need that clear thinking tonight. What's going on? Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. Could be a way out of this pit. Wager something more with my life than sell cheap thrills to cheap pills. What's this way out you mentioned? I met a man, or rather, a man sought me out, and went to all the trouble to set up a meet, get into Hyoi. That takes guts for someone corporate. He said he's a recruiter, like a talent scout for one of the big corporations, and they're interested in me. Me? Can you believe that? When way down here in Hyoi, they heard of me. They see potential in me. Callum Kai-Fi. One of the big shots of the corp wants to be my benefactor. It's amazing, right? Even Li Ka-shing needed mentors, and he became one of the most successful men in the world. This is my start. This is my break. The recruiter wouldn't tell me the guy's name or the name of the corp. It's all still very preliminary. This is just a first step, you know. But a first step toward walking out of here. You're really so bad here? You've been here long enough. You should know better by now. Most people figured out the first few hours. Hyoi's a way station. Halfway between something better and something worse. You stay here just accepting the fact you'll never amount to anything. You're agreeing that all you care about is keeping your head above water. It's 4 good walls and 3 square meals at its best. Some people pass through on their way down before bottoming out in the walled city, or a floater in the harbor. Others pass through on the way up, places like Taikoo Shing or Aberdeen. That's how I intend to go. Feels as though a pall hangs over Club 88. There are fewer patrons on the dance floor, far more hushed conversations than raucous frivolity. Ermine scans the too-thin crowd as she can suss out the reason for the change. Something's not right. Not right at all. You expecting trouble? No, not the kind you mean. It's just a shift in the mood. Usually when it gets that way, it's for obvious reasons. The death of someone beloved in Hyoi, or terrorist attack hitting too close to home. This time, I don't know. But it doesn't matter. When spirits are down, people drink. When spirits are high, people drink. We make money either way. I just prefer knowing which way the winds are blowing. It comes from being an old sailor's wife. You said you worked in the corporate sector. Oh yes, I was with Bayou for many years before the boys were born. I started as low as one can get, but I was always good with people, and I understood the politics better than most. Being a troll in the corporate world is very hard. There's a lot of bigotry. However, I turned it to my advantage in every way I could. People underestimated me. I used that in every way I could. Sometimes being able to project raw, contained power is very useful. Slowly I climbed the ladder. Sometimes I wonder what might have been if Callum hadn't come along when he did, but there's no changing the past. Are things with Callum any better? No, he's become even more distant of late, more secretive. I saw him talking to someone the other day, the kind of person who doesn't belong in Hyoi and shouldn't even be here. I don't know who they were or what they wanted, but Callum was clearly trying to hide it from me. I have a bad feeling. Same heavy feeling that hangs over this place. Something's wrong. Something bad is coming for my son, and I don't know if I can stop it. Sorry, shouldn't bother you with my worries. Surely you have more important business. Well, I guess we can't tell on him. It's not even a choice we get to make. Let's talk to El Duce. This tall, well-built... What the fuck is that face? This tall, well-built human has been watching you since the moment you entered Club 88. Surreptitiously, of course. Glances over his shoulder and the like. But you're certain he's been watching you. He finally speaks as you draw near. I hear that you're the one to talk to about work in the shadows. Hint, hint. Wink, wink. Maybe, maybe not. What's it to you? He shrugs and folds his arms across his chest. I'm looking for work here in Hong Kong, but I don't have my own team. I asked around who the players are here in Hyoi. They said to talk to you. Call me El Duce. I'm a street samurai, good at shotguns, close combat. Got a bit of medical know on top of that. My rates are reasonable unless it's a run against Shiawaze. In that case, it's completely free. You live here in Hyoi? No, Chungking Mansion's down the way, near Hung Hong. It's a real hellhole, but nothing like the walled city. Still, come up here because this is where the work is. A lot of smugglers coming in and out, a lot of freelancers needing to solve problems. Gesturing toward the rest of the bar, Duce surveys the dingy interior with an uncritical eye. Places like this exist all over the world. Dives where cops will come in, except with wire gear. People like us gather around and try to figure out how to make our next UN. Find the right one, you can make any kind of work you want. Why run for free against Shiawaze? Because the sons of bitches killed my wife and stole my son. I'm assuming this is like a... Was there like a Kickstarter? I don't actually remember even if this game had a Kickstarter. I know Dragonfall did. Is this like a top tier Kickstarter reward that you gotta put your dumbass Shadowrunner character in the game? Because I do not believe they would write this character without something like that. Duche's voice is hard and flat. Anything to screw them over. I don't need to get paid for. Why take your son? Profit and biology. He's got the genes for a typo immune system. You know what that is? No. It's just, yeah, it's a universal donor. Come on. It means his organs and blood can be donated to anyone. They're universally compatible. If a company wants to produce Bioware on the cheap, they use sinless typo bodies as templates to grow the wear in. Human factories, basically. Sick stuff. It's not like we can complain to anybody. Officially, we don't even exist. Shaking his head, Duce looks away. Let's talk about something else, okay? Have you been a Shadowrunner your whole life? This is 100% someone's character. That sounds too believable. Yeah! Nope. Originally I was in IT, you know, tech support. That's a hell of a jump to being a Shadowrunner. Yeah, well, having your wife get down and your kids stolen tends to focus your attention. Sounds like a bad action sim, doesn't it? Still, that's how it happened. One day she was getting a reckoning. I should have, if I had been known up front, I could have done a horrible Batman voice for everything. You two, keep safe, alright? I don't care if I look up the Kickstarter and it says otherwise. That's what is happening here. Most call me shit. I don't know. Stop. What's the current record for the... Okay. I was like, I feel like we have said that before. But I was like, am I just not advancing his dialogue by not talking to him? I don't know. We gotta go talk to... What's his face? Ambrose. Ambrose is staring at a flat panel monitor on the wall. Local news channel zoomed in on an ultra-modern aircraft carrier moored in Victoria Harbor. You following the IGN story? Kensei Fighter Wing from the Master Many did an honorable flyby of the Executive Council meeting today. They're rattling the saber hard. Everybody's being courteous as hell, but nobody's blinking. Oh, sorry. The IGN? The Masamane? What are you talking about? The Imperial Japanese Navy. They parked the carrier Masamone's battle group in Hong Kong for a visit, trying to intimidate the city. Nobody's having it, not even the Japan Corps. Looks like it's been driven by some sort of weird internal Japanese pissing match. The Imperial militarists want to cow Hong Kong, bring it under the umbrella. However, almost every megacorp, including all the Japan Corps, want Hong Kong to remain independent. Tensions are high. Do I have anything to worry about? Yeah. Don't go to a bar full of drunk Japanese sailors with a free San Francisco t-shirt on. Ambrose snickers. The whole IGN drama is going to go on like it always does. The Japanese Navy will eventually realize no one's even paying attention. Then they're going to steam off in a huff, maybe blow a few smugglers out of the water. Happens all the time. Is there any chance that Japan will take over the Hong Kong Free Enterprise Zone? No way. Not in a million years. This kind of rooster show goes down all the time. Worst that'll happen is much more prostrating, like the IGN has an accidental fire incident with a coastal boat. Somebody test fires an anti-ship missile. The Port Authority finds the Masumenes. Paperwork lacking and charges them exorbitant harbor fees. Noise like that. There's a bunch of square-haired idiots with muscle cars. They're a bunch of square-haired idiots with muscle cars revving at each other. Just stay out of smuggler holes. The IGN likes to go on sprees of blowing them up to show how well protected HK would be under their yoke. Ambrose snorts in amusement. Those honorary flyover fighters had live ordnance loaded. Ridiculous. Say what you will, though. That Kensai multi-role fighter is a sweet bird. Ambrose ogles a close-up of one of his shark-like jets on the wall screen. Twin Mitsubishi double-aught Delta turbofan engines, ramjets, thrust vectoring, Generation 4 fight by wire. Hey, gorgeous. Ah, politics. I can only talk about them so much. Let's move on. I'm here to pick up reliable Matthews medicine. Ambrose's brows rise in surprise for a moment. Really? Well, okay. Waldo arm opens a cabinet and crackles through packaging. In a moment, swings over to you, holding a plastic cylinder about the size of a roll of breath mints. Here you go. The arm gently sets the cylinder in your hand. What are these? Sorry, Kate. I can't discuss the patient's treatment without permission. Confidentiality and Hippocratic oath and all that. Man, there's a lot of academic in here. I like this. Just like, that's not what the Hippocratic oath is all about. Very well, I understand. Good, I gotta respect people's privacy. That's non-negotiable. It's back to the cylinder. The cylinder is lettered with holographic Hanzi. Cool blue jazz, non-smoker version. Has a styled illustration of a laid-back lounge lizard of a man wearing a zoot suit and smoking a cigarillo. Through the semi-transparent plastic, you can see a stack of like, tiny pills or chips. This looks like a tube of slow-burn better-than-life chips. They're disposable chips to create a synthetic experience. Unlike normal BTLs, which burn hot and fast, the sensory and emotional tracks on slow-burn chips are adjusted to be only slightly above legal limits, and they last all day long. They give a gentle, subdued high. It's like you're someone else, but still living your life. Thanks, kid. He'll be happy to get those. You came here as a runner. Now you're a busted-up doc. What happened? Hey, I'm not busted up, you insensitive jerk. I'm economy size. Ambrose erupts into laughter, slapping the side of his wheelchair. Quickly devolves into shameless giggling. He stops giggling, cocks a sober eye at you. Seriously, though, that's some heavy shit. It'll take a while to tell. You really want to know? Oh no, you found him? Yes, I do. Praises you quietly. Well, you're doing good, Cade. I feel okay about telling you about this. The run went bad. Ambrose spits on the floor, emphatically, in clear defiance of his own prominent sanitary space. No spitting sign. El Duce is a backer called Adam Duchin. Wow. They used to call me Ripshot. I was on a 10-man crew. We were led by this ex-army troll named Icebreaker, former combat engineer, brutal guy. We did shadowrunning, armed robbery, office invasion, underworld hits, anti-branding, just about anything, as long as we could make money and hide our tracks. It sounds more like a heist crew than a runner team. Oh, is that what that is? That's good to know. It kind of was. Shadowrunning, robbery, rackets. It was all the same to us. Because for some reason most of the backer portraits have the backer's name in the file, which seems a questionable decision. Well... A lot of our work was high profile, real violent. We dumped a lot of bodies in the harbor. Then we had this one job. Ambrose pauses, takes a deep breath. Hey, I can sum this up real quick, otherwise I tend to get long-winded. What do you want? Give me the full story. We were breaking into an R&D facility. It was a vanilla job, cheap rent-a-comps, flawed security system, no problem. It was going like clockwork. I was out in the command van on Overwatch. Bam! Something hit the van like a freight train. Ambrose grits his teeth. His body visibly tenses at the memory. The walls crushed in on me. There was a flash of light, darkness, stabbing everywhere, pressure like a mountain falling on me, feeling crushed to a pulp. And then I blacked out. Ambrose fell silent. He seems to be somewhere far away in his mind. Seconds tick by. When I woke up again, I was in pitch darkness. I could hardly breathe. I was being burned by hot metal. Pain was indescribable. Several of the NPCs you've dealt with have been backers. He was just the most awful. I kind of assumed, yeah, that if that one was one, that the other, like... Because I already knew that, like, the Shadowrunners that you can recruit, that you can hire, that are just, like, random dudes for missions, that those are backers. So yeah, I guess it makes sense that that there's a higher tier of, like, they actually show up and you have a conversation with them, and then they get to tell you their backstory and whatever. There was a shrieking like the metal was screaming around me. It was really, I remember it was really obvious in some of the portraits in Dragonfall because it was just like clearly, I mean, it's kind of bad, but he was clearly like nerd self-portraits that had been like painted over by the HBS artists into looking like whatever. Um, let's see. There's a shrieking like the metal was screaming around me. Sparks. Someone was cutting through the wreck. Huge pressure lifted off me. There was a blinding light. One of the portraits is clearly just Felicia Day. Is that... was she a backer? Or was that like... did they hire her? I can't imagine they hired her. Ambrose gives a tense sigh. He's trembling. It's our glove woman, Karen. She pulled me out of the wreck, wrenched 4 tourniquets on me, shot me up with the drugs, stuffed me in a security car she'd shut up. Karen jacked me in. I couldn't even hold my head up. I thought my spine was shattered. Once I was rigged in, though, the pain in my meat didn't matter. I drove us out of there. I stayed conscious just long enough to get us to a friendly clinic. By the time I got there, Karen was going down with brain swelling. Ambrose's eyes seemed to clear as if he was turning from far away. We got barn stomped right proper. Slaughtered. They crushed the command van with a front-end loader and left me for dead. Everyone but me and Karen got wiped out. Who ambushed you? I still don't know. Best I can figure it out was some sort of counter-intrusion team. Maybe the whole run was a setup. They hit you with a construction vehicle? Yeah. Shoved the van right into a plasticrete wall. Nearby robot arm equipped for a heavy mechanical work emphatically snaps its vice-like craw. Crushed it like a beer can. It's not tagged as a backer portrait like the others, but it does have her name in the file, so who knows? Huh. I learned something from that. Tell you what, how to seriously slot someone's day. Ambrose gestures with his chin toward the clinic's false ceiling. We've got an articulated backhoe boom up there with a demolition claw. Hell with guns. Anyone who ever fucks with Chrome Alley, they'll learn what high-powered hydraulics really means. How did Karen escape? Karen was carrying the first haul out when the assault team hit us. She jumped into a koi pond and lay on the bottom for about 5 minutes doing her woo-woo cheese centering thing. They dropped a flashbang grenade into the pond to clear it. They messed her up good. Burst her eardrums, gave her a concussion, ruptured her blood vessels in her eyes, nose, mouth, knocked the air out of her lungs. She stayed on the bottom for another couple minutes. I once asked her what that was like. She just said, painful. That was Karen, stoic like a concrete block. You wrecked, Ambrose. How did you survive such trauma? Ambrose tapped the side of his head. Cowardice and job security. I was always real scared of getting hurt. I clutched up my tactical computer with some healware and my headwear radio, and as soon as my vitals went screwy, my trauma protocols kicked in and my radio started broadcasting my heartbeat. Karen couldn't drive. She homed in on my beacon and cut me out of the wreck with our demo saw. Then she shot me up with enough adrenaline, PMO4, and morphine to reanimate a corpse. Ambrose shivers a little at the memory, and she put 3 trauma patches on me in a row. It shredded my renal system. Taps his chair. That's why this little hot rod has an artificial liver and a dialysis machine in it. Anyway, that's how it all went down. Afterwards, things were real hard for a while. Ambrose seems to take stock of himself. He breathes heavily. Tension drains from his body, and he slowly relaxes. Here I am, though. Ripshot no more. By the way, Ripshot is dead. Let's keep it that way. Please don't say that name to anyone, okay? Karen was an artist at faking deaths, and she made sure we both vanished. Ambrose shakes himself, rubs his eye anxiously. Listen, Cade, this is a stressful subject to me. We can talk more about the past another day. For now, I'm finished. Spent. Bye, Ambrose. Cheers, Cade. Not where I wanted to go. I want to go back to meet Matthew. I guess it doesn't seem out of the question that she would be a backer. And obviously she could just drop the money for it at that level. Hi, Kate. Did you get my medicine? Yeah, I did. Really? That's great. Give it to me. What is this stuff? It's my medicine. It makes me feel better. Waits weekly at the drone lot. Makes all this okay. Here, give it to me. I mean, he's got... That's fine. Here you go. Matthew hastily takes the cylinder from you. His hands shake as he dispenses a single chip from it. He pulls back his hair and slots the chip into a hidden data jack. He stands stock still, eyes closed. His eyelids flutter. A ripple moves through his body. His eyes snap open. Flashes you a vacant grin. Hey, beautiful. Boy, am I glad to be back. The day was a little dreary there for a while, but now I'm back, and I'm in fighting shape. He pulls a fresh cigarette from his pocket, twists off the lotto lighter tip with gusto. It ignites with a faint crackle. Time to push some tin. You just slotted a synthetic personality. No siree, beautiful. This puppy's authentic. Genuine authentic. Authentically awesome! Phew. Wow. Smell that fresh air. Feel that victory. Cracks his knuckles loudly. Some lucky soul's gonna get a great deal on a drone today, Cade. All thanks to you. Let's talk about your authentically awesome BTL personality. Matthew shuffles uncomfortably. Can't talk now, beautiful. Gotta make sales. I feel too good to slow down. Catch you later, why don't you? Well, Matthew flashes a winning smile as you approach. Well, that was a close one, Cade. Thanks to you, we're back in business. And just for you, I've got a red-hot deal on solar chargers just in time for the sun. He stares blissfully up at the cloudy gray sky. Alright, let's go back to the boat. Because I gotta go. Actually, I don't need to use the boat. Wait. Yeah, I was gonna save and rest. Save game. A stabbing pain in your abdomen, in your stomach, jolts you awake. Your entire abdomen is cramping up. You roll in your cot, willing the shooting pains that radiate from your stomach to go away. Your mouth is bone dry and your tongue is swollen. It feels thick and inarticulate, like a useless slab of meat. A quick glance at your PDA tells you it's 4 a.m. Outside your cabin, the rest of Hioi sleeps. All that you remember of the dream that you awoke from is a horrible, unfulfilled yearning, and a need to get where you were going first. Others were behind you. You could feel the heat of their breath on your neck. If you were to beat them to your destination, you could slam the door in their faces, keep them out and away from what was yours. But if they overtook you, you would feel that terrible longing forever. As you grasp at your last fleeting memories of the dream, a wave of exhaustion washes over you. It feels like you've been drugged. You collapse back into your cot, into a black, dreamless sleep. When you open your eyes again, the sun filters in under your door. It's morning. There are a lot of dream writing in this game. Alright, so which mission are we going to actually run? Now that we've gotten through all that. Let's see. So this is Ractor's. This is Isabel's. I don't remember what order we got them in. I've been trying to do them mostly in order. I believe this is... Let's just go to DECCON. We'll do Isabel's job. Transit to Kaitak to board a chartered bus to DECCON. So, obviously we have to take Isabel. So now we haven't actually seen his stuff yet. Only has 5 armor. It's like fucking amazing combat armor that takes like super shit to blow up. But it's equivalent to... That seems very silly. He only has 2 skill in melee weapons. 1 charisma. Well, at least he knows to dump his dub stats. Granted, these are kind of all dump stats, but, well, these are. Infected skull. Infected arm. Infected claws. Ghoul leg. Why isn't it HMHVV infected leg? Infected lungs. Decayed skin. Let's see here. Who should we bring? So we're bringing you. We always want to bring you. Wait. Do we only get 3 people? No. Oh, can we only bring... Is this like a... We have to bring less people on this one? Oh, shit. Well, that's weird. Also, where's everybody else to hire? We can't hire people for this mission? Huh. Alright, well, we'll bring Gobbet. Even though it's probably not... If we actually have to fight, that's probably not the most useful person to bring. But story-wise, I think it makes more sense to bring Gobbet. I'm hoping, since there's... If we can take less people, and we can't take any of our normal... Like, any of the non-story runners, that means this is a low combat mission. But I don't remember what the actual mission is even for. I just know it's Isabel's mission. Oh, I guess that's part of maybe why we can't hire runners for it, because we're not getting paid for it, so it would be... I mean, we could still pay them. But... Yes. Hopefully this is a shorter mission, but I don't know. A chartered bus carries you from Kaitak to the mid-range hotel in Suan. All around you, the happy chatter of your fellow passengers fills your ears. You hear tech speak in a variety of languages and dialects, talk about new lines of drones and decks, arguments over innovations in data jack technology, and baseless speculation about the next season of Urban Brawl. Your guest badge, a glossy slip of laminated paper emblazoned with a flashy logo. Would it not be like a digital thing? Hangs on your lanyard around your neck. Your ticket in the convention hall and the only disguise that you should need. The bus drops you in front of the Harbor Spires Hotel. You promptly circle around back to find a service entrance. Isabel should be waiting for you inside. Oh, that's why. That's right. So I still can't get that. I can do this. Oh, I can actually get... Well, I mean, I can't do that, but I can... I guess technically I can equip that. Your spells. Oh, you only have haste 2. Isabel. I mean, there's no point in I don't think there's any real point in doing that. But there's no point in not doing it. So, like, sure, take a sniper rifle, Gobbet, that you can't use. The way Isabel described it, it sounded like a Hitman level. The service entrance to the Harbor Spires Hotel looks like any other. Scuffed walls coated in chipped paint, a floor of well-worn hardwood, a time card reader hanging from the wall at a slight tilt. Nothing about the dingy utilitarian confines of the room that you're in hints at the elegance and fine decor of the hotel beyond. It smells like clams in here. She wriggles her nose, sniffing. Clams and something else. Tequila, maybe? Some kind of sour liquor. It's hard to tell. Your earpiece crackles to life. Isabel calling from the woman's lavatory. Cade. A burst of static fills your ear, obliterating Isabel's voice. A second later, she cuts back in. You in position? I'm here, yeah. You're kind of breaking up, though. Yeah, I know. Connection here is crap. The comms keep cutting out. This doesn't bode well. Are you going to be giving us instructions over the comm? Yeah, hang on a sec. Try to boost our signal strength. Sound cuts out entirely for a good 5 seconds. When Isabel's voice comes back, it's half again as loud as it was before. There, that's better. What a pain in the ass this is. There's way too much interference coming from the show floor. We aren't going to be able to rely on our comm links for this. Your dedication to the voice acting is commendable. Thank you. I'll find us a workaround. Well, I hope you do it fast. This entire plan hinges on our being able to communicate. Like I said, I'll find a workaround. For now, let's concentrate on the task at hand. The catering staff should all be in the kitchen, hauling trays of steamed clams and aperitifs out to the convention hall floor. Called it. Isabel plows ahead, ignoring the interruption. I'm gonna need you to find a way to get me one of their uniforms. One that will fit someone my size. Oh, darn it. If I had put more points to my decking, I could do this myself. What if there aren't any that'll fit you? There will be. Hotel guidelines require the creator and company to have uniforms suitable for all metatypes on hand for major events. It's a contingency thing, just in case they need to bring in temp workers on short notice. Oh, it's not an anti-discrimination thing. Alright, I'm on it. Good. Oh, and Cade, we aren't going loud yet, got it? Whatever you do, don't start shooting. We can't afford to send Rhombus running before we can get him cornered. Right. No shooting until we have Rhombus. Got it. I don't remember who that is. Locate and trap Rhombus. Keep Isabel alive. What is this? It's an alarm panel. Oh, great. Oh. View archived work manifest logs. Huang, millions. The damned sprinklers went off again. The entire kitchen was flooded, and Chef Boone quit. We're gonna have to go with third-party caterers for a big event this weekend, because we sure as hell can't steam a few thousand clams without any kitchen staff. Alright. How much would it cost to give me 4 points? Alright, that's worth it. Honestly, probably reasonable to go up to 5, but... Yeah, I can assist him with ease, revealing command-level subroutines that are normally hidden from view. Okay, we can set off the sprinkler system. Don't need to do that right now. I don't have a drone to send in there. That would be helpful. Whoop. The Harbor Spar's kitchen are whirl into activity. Attractive 20-somethings in white catering uniforms dish in and out of the room, their arms laden with heaping trays with steaming selfies. One man stands still amidst the chaos, the eye of the storm. His white coat is at least half again whiter than those of his subordinates, and his collar starched, stiff as a board. The floor manager notices you, his eyes narrow. He stalks towards you, practically frothing at the mouth. You can't help but notice the embroidered corporate logo on his label. Pastry, magic, and more. Fine catering. The image completed by a stylized rendering of what appears to be a frolicking kitten standing astride a pair of shooting stars. Yo, what are you doing in my kitchen? He glances at your chest, sees the visitor's badge hanging from the lanyard that Isabel gave you dangling around your neck. Convention goers are not allowed beyond the show floor. Could I buy one for my daughter? I'm here at the behest of my employer, Wuxing Inc. Perhaps you've heard of us. Stop short. Yes, everyone's heard of Wuxing, but what do you want from me? With me? Our CEO, Mr. Wu Longmei, likes your food. He'd like to offer you a permanent location in one of our corporate food courts. His eyes go wide. Yes, of course. I am so sorry for the rush treatment that I gave you when I found you in my kitchen. Normally, I would never have. Of course, you wouldn't. Now, I'll need to bring one of my employers one of your uniforms for branding purposes. One of our uniforms? Yes, of course. Take as many as you need. He fumbles with a device on his wrist, and a door in the corner of the room opens with a click. Thank you. My employers will be in touch with your contract. Oh, thank you, ma'am. As he turns away, he browses frantically after you. This is the happiest day of my life. Yep, we definitely are a pair of, I mean, I guess I got a cyber deck on me. I kind of look like a... How do I get to Isabel? Okay, so let's go out here. Oh, look at the convention! Oh, that's cool. So this is the men's room. Well, who's that? Shady man. A sketchy-looking man in a long, shabby coat stands in the middle of the bathroom floor, teetering on his feet. He blinks at you through red-rimmed eyes crusted over his sleep. Hey there, are you, checks the screen. Oh, he's not drunk. Maybe he is, actually. He's high, probably. Are you, he checks the screen, say, the Imperator? Because if you are, I got your stuff. Yep, that's me. Great. He lifts an overstuffed plastic shopping bag. Here, you want to see the whole stock? Or do you just want to buy the items that we discussed? Let me see your whole stock. Well, I don't need any drugs. I'm just turning around. He's like, what? You enter the woman's restroom to find Isabel waiting impatiently for you. Her guest badge dangles from its lanyard at a canted angle, and the clumped ropes of her hair look frazzled. At the sight of you, she steps forward. You're in here. You're here. Good. I was getting tired of hanging out in the ladies' room. You have the uniform? There you go. She eyes the embroidery of the logo, nodding. Good. This'll work. Alright, I'm going to change into this thing and hightail it to the employees-only door on the far side of the convention hall. They'll let me in even without a badge. They'll just figure some rich guy wants a drink. Where's the VIP area? On the other side of the convention floor. I'll have to cross the show floor to do it, but that should be safe enough. Nobody pays attention to the catering staff for these things. Gavin perks up. I do! She scowls. Nobody who isn't preoccupied with stuffing her face pays attention to the catering staff. She nods sagely. That is fair. So I'll make my way across, pass through the door, and take the elevator up to the admin wing on the 6th floor. All that you need to do is take your position and wait for my instructions, without raising any alarm. Pretty simple stuff. Should be foolproof assuming you don't screw anything up. Do you have any questions? Have you figured out what you're going to do about that spotty comlink connection? Yes, there's a demo kiosk near the VIP entrance. It's running some new Matrix avatar editing suite or something like that. The software is called Perfect Persona. When I get to the admin area, I'm going to patch myself into the Perfect Persona console, and we're going to communicate through that. It isn't a perfect solution, but it beats having to deal with a dropped connection. Just be sure to grab the kiosk when you're in position. Don't let anyone else get to it. What am I supposed to do on the show floor again? Wait by the VIP area door. When I identify Rhombus, you'll apprehend him and tell him that he's the lucky winner of a complimentary VIP pass upgrade. You'll escort him through the VIP doors to a room that I'll have empty and waiting. Then we'll all get the software from him together, beat him up, and stash him in a closet. What should I do between when you leave and when you get in position? Walk the show floor, mingle, try to look like you belong here. Just try not to say or do anything that'll stand out in a bad way. You're supposed to be a hot new decker in town. Try to act the part. Alright. We gotta mingle. Blend in and explore the convention floor. Oh, we're standing in line. What's this guy? Oh, these are the oh, okay. These are the like guards, I think. Rack of high capacity stick memory devices. Patent pending. Oh no, never mind, they're not. I don't know what they are. The pot-bellied troll with 2 days worth of mangy stubble smiles and turns to face you. The chrome on his data check shimmers wetly in the light, but his cyberdeck is conspicuously absent. Hey, what's going on? His badge hanging low on his landlord. He catches a glimpse of his decking handle. Headspace. Strange to see someone at DECCON without a cyberdeck. Oh, but I do have a deck. He taps his head with a smile. Got it right here. The next generation of decking technology. The cranial cyberdeck. Continues without waiting for a response. It's the apex of modern decking technology. Miniaturized, compact, easy to sneak into the most sensitive of locations. I don't need to lug a great big external deck around with me anymore. It's night and difference between this and my old Fairlight Excalibur friend. Night and day. Where'd you get your cranial deck? Chop in Kowloon City. He told me not to ask where it came from. He chuckles to himself. Lots of things fall off of trucks and out Kowloon way. I'm sure this was the same. How are you enjoying the con? It's great. I've got to tell a lot of people about my new deck, you know. Spreading the word, educating folks. Feels good to save my fellow deckers from wasting their money on old external decks. I guess you could call me a cranial deck evangelist. Haha. He nods his head eagerly, desperation in his eyes. Well, you're doing good work. You sold me one already. Validation washes over him like a rejuvenating shower. Gives you a huge thumbs up. Headspace. So he's a, like, planted marketer? Also, why are these people blue versus the people that are white? Display devoted to third-party cooling system for terminals and cyberdecks. And this guy... Oh, okay. I could talk to him, but probably shouldn't. Judging by the patches sewn onto his bomber jacket, this elf is from the Nan, Council Island to be specific, a forested chunk of rock in the middle of Lake Washington that was called Mercer Island until the Native American nations reclaimed it. He doesn't look Amerindian, though. If anything, he looks Chinese in descent, though his mask makes it hard to tell for sure. He turns to face at you at your approach. His features are mostly hidden, but you see that he's sporting a high steel collar and spiky hair. His cheeks are high-boned and hollow. Eyes you nervously. Hey, you want something from me? What's up? Just wanted to get to know my fellow congoers from Council Island. Yeah, what gave me away? Makes a point of showing off his jacket. Tribal insignias look strangely out of place here on the deckcon floor. You from Seattle? Originally, I've lived all over though. No Drek. Well, it's good to meet you, chummer. Seattle shadow slang sounds incredibly awkward when delivered in Cantonese, but he doesn't seem to notice. Good to meet you too. Gives you an awkward smile. It's particularly this guy doesn't get out much. Is there anything specific that you're here to see? Yeah, I'm here to check out the 57 Fuchi cyberdecks. My 55 Cyber 7 is barely cutting it these days. I want to see what they're coming out with next year. I heard they've got a demo station. So, tell me, what's your favorite new ASP for incursion operations? I like Blast Hammer personally. Heard of it? It's open source, developed by the Southeast Asian deck community. It does a number on Blocker IC. Blast Hammer? Never heard of it. He snickers to himself. Really? It's only the most popular freeware attack ESP in Southeast Asia. He's practically shouting. His face is lit up with maniacal glee. Come on down, man. I'm from Seattle, not Southeast Asia. Yeah? You better get with it if you want to survive out here. He leers at you, his expression all smugness and superiority. I mean, just saying. I like that if you have enough decking knowledge, you get the response to tell him that actually it's shit. That's a fun color on this conversation. Your comlink crackles life with an ear-splitting hiss. Isabel. Okay, I've jacked into the admin compute. Shh. Primitive, but I can work with it. Are you in position yet? No, not yet. Get into the waiting position near the VIP and use the kiosk. Remember, perfect persona. Use the perfect persona kiosk to talk to you. Copy that. While you're getting there, I'll start working on getting you VIP access and locating ROM. Line goes dead. Isabel, can you hear me? There's no response. If you want to look around the show floor anymore, we should probably do it before we hit up that kiosk. I know it is. As soon as we call her back, she's going to want to be all hyper-focused on the job. No more time to socialize the lineup for the noodle extender. I don't know why we would need to socialize more. I've seen all that we need to see here. Let's get to the... I guess we could look around a bit more. Just out of curiosity about, like, what point that is. I guess there's... Oh, what's Mr. Lin? Oh, so there was a guy in line that we could have talked to. That's not the guy we're here for. No. Okay. Let's talk to Mr. Lin. Real quick. York behind the counter looks up from his sales sheets. He really recites it sounds like a rehearsed welcome. Welcome to Mr. Lin's Big Time Data Shack. Special show prices for this event only. Feel free to browse. Ah. So this is why. Because you can buy... Holy fucking shit. Those are expensive as hell. Wow. I mean, I wish I could buy that. Look at how shit mine is compared to that. Alright, let's go. The perfect persona kiosk flickers to life at your approach. A debug menu pops up on the screen, along with a text prompt in all caps. Cade, enter the following key code into this kiosk. Enter the key code. You tap the code onto the kiosk's keyboard. A moment later, a series of 5 loud popping sounds rattles off in your comlinks earpiece. Isabel's voice fills your ear, crisper and cleaner than it was before. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me, Cade? Yeah, I hear you. What was that? Command line code for the kiosk to connect with your comlink by a direct link. It just creeps into your voice. This way we can bypass using the comm signal entirely. Nice is. I know. As long as you remain with a couple feet of the kiosk, we shouldn't have any problem. Wander too far outside the range and you're going to get static again. Got it. Alright, now that we're all linked up, give me a second and I'll locate Rhombus. You get the sound of rattling keystrokes coupled with Isabel muttering under her breath. The line falls silent. Silence stretches. 10 seconds. 20. Then you hear Isabel explode. What the hell? He already has one? How the fuck does Rhombus merit a VIP pass when I don't? Wait, he's already in the VIP area? She rails in the earpiece, fuming. I'm twice the decker that he is, and everybody knows it. What makes him a VIP when I'm not? Calm down, Isabel. At least we know where he is. She takes a moment to calm herself. You can almost feel the heat of her anger radiating through her earpiece. Alright, I know which room he's staying in now. Another strain of silence. I'll just need a few minutes to get you your VIP upgrade. The line goes dead. That wasn't good. What should we... A series of clicks erupt in your ear, cutting Gobbet's sentence short. Your PDA begins blinking. You're receiving a video chat request. Oh no. Isabel blossoms onto the screen along with a pair of towering security guards. The line that connected her to the admin terminal hangs loose from the socket. I'm gonna ask you again, what the hell are you doing in here? Take your time and make sure that you're telling me the truth. I'll know if you don't. Isabel stammers helplessly. Wow, she looks so weird in the uniform without her, she's never, she covered up her, tattoos, I guess? Well, I was just looking for the person who ordered this coffee. What, were you looking for him in the Matrix? Besides, you don't have any coffee, so try again. She continues to sputter. Her eyes dart towards the screen, fixing on you. You can see the desperation on her face. Well, I need to, We're doing the Cyrano thing, aren't we? Alright, Isabel, listen up. Say what I say and you'll be fine. It's okay if you understand. Okay. Last chance. Start talking sense or spend the night with the HKPF. Fuck! I don't know what to say. I'm sorry, I'm just nervous. I've never been in trouble before. The words sound rehearsed, but their tinge is enough genuine panic to be plausible. Guard glances at his counterpart. We don't have time for this. Just kick her out and be done with it. The guard in front of Isabel straightens. Yeah, you're probably right. She looks down on Isabel, hands on her hips. I'm gonna let you go with a warning this time, but only this once. If I catch you anywhere near this room again, I'm turning you over to the police. Got it? But I... Don't argue with her. Just let them kick you out of the room. She clenches her jaw, looks up at the guard. Yes, sir. Good call. Line goes quiet as she moves out of the server room. Oh boy! Guide Isabel back to the convention floor. That's our new objective. What a damn nightmare this is turning out to be. I'm sorry, Cade. I couldn't get you your VIP access. You got out of there in one piece and without the cops getting drawn into this. That's what's important. You're right. At least I know where you have to go. Rhombus has a room in the VIP section and I can get us there. There's only one problem. Without VIP access, you can't open the door without sounding an alarm. The picture on your PDA flickers worryingly. A moment later, Isabel's image returns to the screen and lets you through from this side. That's what I'm going to do now. I'll make my way down to you and open the door. I lost a bit of that. Are we going to have communication problems again? Maybe, a bit. I'm still using the kiosk to talk to you, but now that I'm not jacked in, I can't route messages to it directly anymore. Please, stay put. If you lose the kiosk, we're gonna have serious communications issues. Got it. Oh, and I may need your help if I run into more people up here, Cade. In case you hadn't guessed, I'm not exactly a social butterfly, and if things go loud, I'll really need your help. I've got your back. Let's do this. So, we don't know where to go. This is just a computer room. Oh, let's search the computer. I'll be damned. It's logged into an admin inbox, and somebody left it unlocked. I can't open the door for you from here. We can read the messages if you want. Do it. Isabel turns the camera to her PDA to face the screen of the terminal. Amber text on a stark black background spins into focus. A hotel messaging service. Ghost in the machine. To the admin. Look, I'm going to come right out and say it. The security guys are right. There's something horribly wrong with that noodle extruder. I ran a diagnostic on it this afternoon. I was halfway through recalibrating the broth nozzles when the damn thing started humming. Sure enough, it started churning out steaming, hot, juicing noodles, just dumping them into the palms of my hands. You don't even want to see the blisters I'm sporting now. Now here's the freaky thing. The dough hopper was empty. I unloaded it myself prior to beginning the diagnostic. I want to repeat that. It was producing dough out of thin air. That machine is haunted. You want my advice? You'll get rid of it before the show. Huh. I don't think this is what I was expecting this message to be, or I don't know what I was expecting this message to be, but that wasn't it. You want me to keep going? Open the second message. The noodle extruder in the food court area is out of order and should be left unplugged until further notice. Under no circumstances should any hotel or DECCON employee tamper with this device. Maintenance is looking into it. Again, do not plug in the extruder. Severe disciplinary action will be taken against any employee caught disobeying these instructions. Alright, you want me to open another message? Open the third message. Okay, I'm getting seriously creeped out over here. The damned noodle extruder is back, Z. I can't explain it. We boxed the thing up yesterday and sent it to the manufacturer. It wasn't here 5 minutes ago, but now that we opened the doors and the show is underway, I'm strolling through a food court, and there it is, just sitting there, with a line already forming. What the hell do we do? You and I both know that it doesn't have any dough in it. There's no seasoning in the spice reservoir. We don't have it hooked up to the hotel's water supply. The fucking thing isn't even plugged in. Where are the noodles coming from? What do we do? What do you want me to do, Cade? Open up the last message. It's too late, Nancy. At least a dozen people have already eaten from the thing. We can't shut it down now, and we sure as hell can't let anyone know about it. If people were to get sick, the show could be held liable. Look, if it's any consolation, I've been pouring through the logs of old shows to see if anyone mentioned the noodle extruder, and I found something. This exact conversation. 14 years in a row. I don't know what's happening with this machine. I don't know where it came from, or how, or why. But it's a part of DECCON. Nobody can get rid of it. Nobody knows how it works. It just does, and people keep coming back to visit it. I think this is a blessing in disguise. That's what I'm telling myself anyway. Just don't question it, and everything will be okay. I don't even know what to say about this. I've seen enough. Okay, I'm on it. What a good bit. That's fun. Okay. Nothing in here? Oh, yes. Pill for supplies. Take. Info about the conference room schedule. Those we've got a high-level exec in conference room 3 on the bottom floor. Okay. These are, I guess, things that we don't have open. Uh-oh. Isabel's outline goes fuzzy the moment she steps foot in the elevator. A loud, rhythmic whooshing sound dominates the low end of her PDA speakers. Sounds a bit like the rotors of a helicopter. Hands up, Isabel. We're getting a lot of interference here. An elf in his mid-20s steps aside to let Isabel out the floor selector panel. He looks wired, jittery, stimmed to the gills most likely. There's no telling how long it's been since he's gotten a wink of sleep. Isabel punches the button for the ground floor. Work at the show, huh? Has to be hard. The elf smiles down on Isabel, his expression affable. I'd feel tempted to blow off work and go check out the kiosks. Maybe take in a panel or two. Tell him this Decker stuff isn't really... Well, she does have the cyber deck on her Mac, but that never seems to be visible to anyone. This would be the thing you would say to get him to shut up, which would be ideal, but since she does say, I would say, yeah, it's tough, alright. I wish I could just drop everything and explore. Isabel? Just say what I tell you to, Isabel. Don't go off script. Her eyes remain locked to the man's badge. If she heard what you said, she's ignoring you. Kind ding, huh? That's an interesting street name. Been decking under it long? A couple of years now, he smiles. Longer than anyone else to use the handle. Just smile and nod, Isabel. You're trying to go unnoticed, remember? She heard you, she doesn't acknowledge it. I know who you are. You're the one who shut down the Kowloon City power grid 6 months ago. Clears his throat. Yeah, that was me. Let's just keep that between ourselves, though, alright? Little Sunt screwed over a lot of local deckers. Her voice is soft, but you can detect a definite undertone of hostility. A couple of them soaked up nasty bits of dump shock because of it. You wrecked the grid while they were jacked into their home machines. My team was in a bind. They needed a power outage right then and there, or they were cooked. So I gave them one. It was the best solution to a bad situation. Let's leave it at that. An icy silence descends on the elevator car. A few seconds later, Isabel pierces it. There was this Decker. She lived out in Hioi, called herself Spinster. She was a good person. Now she's in the ground. She never came back out of the coma that your stunt put her into. Another long pause. Slowly, Ding extends his hand toward the emergency brake. What is the fucking music playing for this? Is this supposed to be the elevator music? Stamp out of this is, we aren't here for this guy, and we can't afford to start shooting yet. She balls her hands into fists. You can read the tension in her body language. She's biting her tongue. At least that's what I heard. I'm just a caterer. I'm not a Decker myself. He stares down at Isabel. Smiles vanish from his face. Yeah, sure you're not. Come to get me, haven't you? Take revenge for your friend. Did her people put out a contract on me? Is that it? Oh boy. Where's the, like... I feel like at this point you might as well just basically say the truth. Or, you know, a version of the truth. She's a Decker. She was a friend of Spinster. She's not here because of her contract. She just happened to be, she's just here on, she's here for the convention. Dressed up as staff. For other reasons. I'm not a Decker, honest. Just a caterer who spends way too much time lurking on the Shadowrun BBS. I'm not a Decker. Abruptly, the connection cuts to static. Well, this isn't good. Static pops and hisses for 10 seconds, 20. Finally, the picture warbles back into view. Kind Dang is mid-sentence, practically frothing with rage. Did what I had to do! If you were in my position, you'd have done the same, and if you'd gotten killed. He's shouting, the sound of it reverberates in the cramped confines of the elevator car. There was no third way out of that. There was no third way out of that scenario! Isabel starts to respond. The anger is clear in her tone. I would not have... Isabel! Stop! Listen to me. She stops short. What? You're crazy, an insane person. When I get out of the elevator, I'm going to the hotel security office. Yeah, hell with it. Tell him if he does, he's a dead man. Tell him you're with the Yellow Lotus. You don't want to turn me in. My boss would be very unhappy. I work for Kindly Chang. The color drains from his face because of stammer. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean... Static. The comms would cut again. This is getting old. As quickly as it went, the PDA picture flickers back on your PDA screen. Kind ding. Looks calmer now. The elevator is descending. Remember what we discussed. You keep your cool, and this turns out well for both of us. We live and let live. Understood? Yes. I didn't want any trouble from you in the first place. I'm just glad it was all a misunderstanding. Please don't take this the wrong way, but I'll be happy if this is the last I ever see of you. Feeling is mutual. Car finally slides to a halt. The elevator doors slide open. The other decker doesn't get off. Enjoy the rest of the show. Now get a move on, Isabel. Oh, boy. Let's... maybe not? I appreciate Isabel's sweet smiling portrait as she tells the guy she works for Kindly Chang. Yeah. The hallway ahead is blocked by a trio of struggling bodies. A blackout drunk troll hanging slung behind a pair of cursing security guards. Oh, that's not what that looks like at all. One male and one female. As you watch, they struggle valiantly to drag her down the hallway. Troll's voice comes out in an inebriated roar. Unhand me, you fools! Oh. The older of the two guards, a middle-aged man with a pompadour haircut, wow, struggles with all his might to keep the prisoner's flailing arm constrained. Don't let her go, Ho Yi. She has the strength of 10 men. Yes, sir. You recognize her as the guard who was standing by the employee entrance on the show floor. How she got roped into troll hauling duty is anyone's guess. Security captain locks eyes with Isabel. He barks out an order. Clear the hall! With an exaggerated motion, the troll swings her head toward Isabel. You, dwarf girl, help me! These... She hiccups mightily. The sound reverberates in your ears. These dreckheads want me to leave because I'm a troll. What's happening here? None of your business. You're not even hotel staff. You shouldn't be back here at all. He hugs the troll's left arm to his chest with all his strength, desperately trying to weigh her down. She lifts his feet a few inches off the floor, then slams back down. He lets out an audible whimper. Now clear the way and report to your manager. Quit fighting me, damn it, before I talk to him for you. Former guard stares at Isabel. Recognition dawns on her face. Hey, I remember you. You said you had to meet some caterers up on 6. What are you doing down here? Oh, boy. Fuel canisters for the chafing dishes? I was just checking to see if anybody down here wanted a drink. Just checking to see if anybody down here... You, want a mojito? Man strains against the troll's drunken efforts, his brows beaded with sweat. You, shouldn't... Hold still! Be here! Not even to offer drinks! Troll looks down on Isabel and issues a mushmouth plea. Ignore these pigs and help me! I'll take the runt on the left, and you take the right. Troll bucks against the guard's grasp, nearly breaking away from them. They double down in their attempts to hold her. Isabel stares into the PDA. She looks irritated. Hell with this. It's a waste of time. We've got a schedule to keep. Her hand moves toward her weapon. What do you mean? What schedule? The catering schedule. We're serving dessert in 15 minutes. The dessert schedule. We're dishing out pie in 15. Guard looks at our boss. Security captain strains courageously against his captive's floating arm, oblivious to everything but his own struggle. Look, just hurry back into the kitchen and get out of here. She steps aside to let Isabel pass. Good job, Isabel. There's a brief pause, then she mutters a response under her breath. Mike barely picks it up. This is exhausting. No more improvisation for me. I'm done with this. From now on, I'm your parrot. Just tell me what to say, and I'll say exactly that. If that's the way you want to play it. What? Who the hell is this? An impressive-looking man in a starched white coat blocks the hallway. He turns, and you recognize the familiar pastry, magic, and more insignia on his lapel. He fixes his gaze on Isabel, and the expression on his face is anything but happy. What are you doing back here? We went over this in the staff meeting this morning. I'm the one who's covering this area. The VIPs are to be handled by managers only. You should be on the convention hall floor. I know, sorry. They sent me back here. I think it was a prank. Looks like she was telling the truth after her encounter with the guards. She's repeating everything you say verbatim. And you fell for that? You had specific instructions to stay on the show floor. I didn't know. I'm new here. Yeah, no shit. I don't recognize... You become dimly aware of a figure looming behind you in the convention hall. New here? Must be joking, woman. Been on the kiosk for 20 minutes now. Oh no! Wait, excuse me. What? He leans in, gets in your face. You can taste the onions on his breath. I said it's time for you to get off the damn demo kiosk. You've been hugging it for way too long, and there's a line here. Just give me 5 more minutes. It's all yours. What's all... Oh, that's what I was like worried about. I was like, That's all mine. What are you talking about? You aren't even one of our employees, are you? Do I need to get security? I said that's enough. I've been following the devs of this software for months now, and I traveled 17 hours to try it for myself. You do not get to tell me I flew here for nothing. Get the hell out of the kiosk, or I'm calling security. Be my guest. I work for this hotel's owner. The security team's gonna take my word over yours. Oh yeah? And what do you do here exactly? Stands, hands on his hips, his jaw thrust out. Tell me why I have to wait on you. You work for the owner, so then you're not a pastry magic employee. So then, why are you wearing one of our uniforms? I'm here to check up on the vendors here at the show. The tech vendors, the catering crew, all of it. To make sure the reputation of our venue isn't tarnished. Decker continues to stare at the ship. Okay, I guess. Just try to make it quick, okay? I really want to get my hands on that software. I'm not leaving until I do. Oh, you're like the secret shopper, that sort of thing. He stares down at Isabel, a newfound respect on his face. Well, I hope you'll tell your employers that Pastry Magic and More Catering went above and beyond the call of duty to respect your hotel and its rules. Yeah, I will. In the convention hall, the Decker you were arguing with backs away to a respectful distance. Catering manager steps aside to let Isabel pass. This is really cute. This is a really cute mission. What's in here? Oh, a dark-skinned man in an expensive suit stands at the far end of the room. A cord tethers his data jacket part to the hotel wall. His eyes are glazed over, dead to the world. He's jacked into the hotel's media library, probably enjoying some slick, professionally produced Simpsons fantasy, or something like that. She chuckles. He doesn't even know that I'm in the room. Good. Then you can get out of there undetected. Yeah, sure, but there's something I want to look at first. Isabel, we're not here for this. Get out of there. I wanted to look, but only if there was no one in there. Oh, that's the elevator. Alright, we can go in here now. Oh, I guess we can't actually do whatever. Uh... Where are we? Um... Um... Oh, okay. That works. I figure there must be a, like, go-to character button. Just didn't know that was it, because I never had to use it before. I just want to be stealthed. I want to be sneaking. There's no sneak button. Oh, hello there. As you burst through the door, you find yourself standing face to face with a small, heavily tattooed man. Geometric shapes of all descriptions trace their way from his temples down his cheeks and neck to his shoulders. His eyes continue the motif. Each of his irises is a slanted rectangle. Rhombus looks at Isabel and sighs. If he's surprised to see her, he doesn't show it. You finally want him back, huh? Memories that we locked away. I always knew that you would one day. But you got so hostile after the procedure. Didn't think you'd come around this soon. Isabel glowers at him, her cheeks darkening. Oh, get bent, Rhombus. I got hostile with you because you got hostile with me. Like hell I did. I tried to give you some advice, as a friend. If memory served, you called me a patronizing bastard and slagged my deck. Was I supposed to take that without punching back? Hang on a sec. Isabel cuts in, her normally small voice growing raucous. I called you a patronizing bastard because that's what you were being. You wouldn't have taken that tone if I were a guy, or an orc, or a troll. You talked down to me like I was your little sister or something. Well, guess what? I'm not. Whoa, hold up. I talked that way to you because... She shouts over him, cutting him short. Also, punch back? That's a funny way of putting it. You tailored an ESP to troll all of my posts on Shadowland. What kind of prick would do a thing like that? His face goes beet red and his chest puffs out. Kind whose cat you had killed, you little monster. Captain Whiskers was just a house cat. He didn't have anything to do with this. She rears back in indignation. That wasn't me. I would never hurt a cat. If I were going to have someone killed, it would have been you. You sound like bickering teenagers. Wait a minute. You are bickering teenagers. Sadly, I think we're basically not that much older, so... Pipe down, both of you. We're going to hash this out together. You're the muscle, I take it. You and your friend. Nods a gobbet. She brought you along to beat the information out of me, didn't she? Typical. Calm down. I'm not going to beat you up unless you force me to. Isabel blinks up at you. But I want you to. I can't believe this is happening to me. All over me trying to do you a favor. Shakes his head at Isabel. That'll teach me to try to give a friend some advice, I guess. Jesus. Oh, boo-hoo. Your unsolicited advice wasn't appreciated. I'll cry you a river. It wasn't even like that. I wasn't telling her what to do with her life. I just wanted to tell her what RAM to pick up for a new deck. I mean, it might not have exactly been that, but it was trivial. She's the one who took it personal. It wasn't what you said, Rhombus. It was how you said it. She stares up at him, fuming. And the argument was nothing. It was what you did after the argument that was unforgivable. Taking the moral high ground isn't going to work for you here. You attacked me first, and for no reason. Okay, from what I'm getting here, you both hate each other, but you were friends, right? Once, I guess. You guess? Let me perform amateur brain surgery on you. Hell, you begged me to. We were friends, Isabel. Good friends. And then you went and messed it all up. Amateur brain surgery? Please explain what that means. What the hell has this been about? My memories, the ones about my childhood, the ones that I lost. They aren't gone. They're in headwear storage, locked away behind an encryption key. I've got them, but I can't see them without it. That was your idea, is keeping them, I mean. You told me to hold on to the key for you, just in case you ever needed them back. I know, Rhombus, but after everything that happened, I couldn't just ask you to. You want the encryption key for the memories that we locked away? It's yours. I don't envy the pain that you'll feel when you unlock them, but they belong to you. The key's a series of buttons in his PDA. Isabel's PDA buzzes a moment later. There, check your inbox. You got the key. Do with it what you will. I was holding on to it for you anyway. Isabel blinks confusedly, but I thought we were enemies now. We were, but there was no reason for us to be. Just take the key and go. Have a nice life. He waves her off. He looks exhausted. My old standby. Isabel stares at Rhombus, a neutral expression on her face. Finally, she speaks up. Sorry, Rhombus. I don't know how things got as bad as they did, but sorry. Her voice goes solemn. I'm gonna find out what happened to Captain Whiskers. Promise you that. Like, that's a meaningful and serious thing, but obviously it's also very funny that she says, I'm gonna find out what happened to Captain Whiskers. That'd be nice of you, Iz. I'd appreciate it. Almost bashfully, his gaze fills to the ground. He looks away and color surges to his cheeks. Oh, and I've got something of an admission to make. She rolls her eyes. Look, I get it, Rom. You've always liked me. I hate to break it to you, but it was never a big secret. And I know that's why you... His eyes go wide. He raises his hands, palms out, and shakes his head. What? No, that's not what... I mean, you're a nice girl and all, but just... No. Color rushes to her cheeks. But then, what? My panic button. He flips his sleeve inside out, and you can see a blinking red LED embedded in the fabric. I tripped it when you broke in. The cops are on the way. But wait, don't freak out. I'll call them off for you. Oh. She shuffles her feet, looks away. Thanks. That would be very bad, considering we are most wanted. Hey, what are friends for? You just wait here. I'll go meet them in the hall and draw them off to another room. Shouldn't take 2 seconds. Oh, and it was nice catching up with you. Good luck with the whole memory thing. You're gonna need it. She nods mutely. Rhombus takes off at a run that disappears down the hall. Hello? Security? I had to flee to my room. Oh god. Oh, okay. Let's not talk to them, considering we are, like, our faces are all over. Like, they should recognize our faces. Okay, let's leave. Nice! No fighting! Wow, that was actually really quick. Coward, says Daimon. Tia, what are you doing? Oh, that doesn't really work. The bus trip back to Kai Tak is quieter than the ride in was. Your fellow passengers sit crumpled in their seats, barely moving, barely speaking. Their DECCON 2056 t-shirts hang loose on their frames, and their once cherished guest badges have been crumpled into their pockets. You've seen more lively groups on the way to the morgue. Isabel looks up at you, her eyes full of the same post-con fatigue that you see in everyone else's. She gives you a small smile, taps your temple with a fingernail. You got what you came for. Show's over. It's time to go home. Alright. I'm surprised how short that was, actually. That was a lot shorter than the other ones. Mostly because we didn't get into a fight. It seems like... I wonder how many points there are that you can actually get into a fight. Like, whether it's actually a danger or not. It seems like at the end it must be. If you don't talk him down, you have to get into a fight. But I don't know... I mean, maybe you can get into a fight on the... What the hell? You enter the trawler to find your crew gathered together waiting for you. Isabel has her head buried in her PDA. The rest of them stand watching her, trying to be patient. Also, you skipped over the noodle extruder side quest, Tisk. I have no idea whether you're joking or not. Could I actually, I guess, because there was the line, so could I actually have, like, gone and interacted with it? I mean, we only found out about it after we weren't allowed to explore the convention floor anymore, because it was after Isabel was running around. So... What's going on? Isabel paces up and back, trying to decide how to begin. I've been doing my homework on Josephine Sang and Sang Mechanical Services. You're pacing, so that tells me you found something. Oh yeah, I found something alright. Isabel lifts her PDA to her face, consults her notes. In 2011, Sang Mechanical Services was a D-level corp floundering in the shallow end of the Hong Kong corporate pool. That's when Josephine Shui married into the family. Josephine thought big. She conceived of a massive project that would catapult TMS into the big time, something she called the Prosperity Project. This is the same lady? It's 2058 now. It's like 50 years ago. Prosperity. That's what Raymond was mumbling about. What is the Prosperity Project? Once upon a time in the 1900s, the walled city was a densely populated slum, something like 30,000 people crammed into 6.5 acres. I've heard this story before. It's a shithole, hell on earth, yada yada yada. That's today's walled city, the second walled city. The first walled city started life well over 100 years ago and lasted through both world wars and almost through to the Awakening. It was torn down in 1994 when the government finally had enough. It became such a haven for criminals that the cops would only enter it in large, well-armed groups. Sounds familiar. In 2021, Josephine Sang proposed a vision for the new type of low-income housing project. The Prosperity Project, a self-contained, low-cost walking neighborhood for the poor, but on a grand scale. The Prosperity Project would give Hong Kong's poor and the flood of refugees pouring into the country a place they could call their own. Something that felt more permanent than the sprawling tent city that spontaneously sprang up after the first walled city was demolished. The Prosperity Project would place the tent city and be symbolically built on the site of the old walled city. The slogan was a place of dignity, where prosperity begins. The apartments weren't much bigger than the space you'd get in your average coffin motel, but they were built around plazas and marketplaces that contained goods and services catering to the poor. The government forgot the lessons of the last walled city. They loved the idea of containing the refugees and the poor to only a few densely populated blocks, kept them out of the public eye. Securing the contract catapulted Sang Mechanical Services' fortunes ahead, and eventually put Josephine Sang onto the executive council. That doesn't line up. How did she get so powerful by building a slum? It's a very big slum. Apparently there was also the beginning of a series of lucrative building contracts that propelled TMS into the big time. Where's Raymond come into all this? Raymond Black doesn't come into it at all, but Edward Sang does. Is Raymond Black actually Edward Sang? Immediately. Yup, that's my immediate jump. You got it. Duncan's jaw drops open. What? No, come on. Raymond Black was actually Edward Sang, the only son of Josephine Sang and her late husband, Breakwater Sang. Edward was in charge of laying the groundwork for the walled city, excavation, utilities. Okay, so Josephine is very old. This is 3 generations. It's interesting. Running in power lines, that kind of thing. What kind of a name is Breakwater? I mean, that also struck me, but I was just like, I don't know. They all got weird names. So our secret foster grandmother is trying to kill us. It looks that way, yeah. Ractor chuckles softly to himself. Wait, this doesn't make any sense. Remember that massive greywater leak that flooded the basement back in 48? What about it? Ray didn't know the first thing about sewer lines. He had an small army of plumbers, probably paid him double what the job was worth to fix the thing. It still took almost 2 minutes to get the leak under control. And Josephine put him in charge of the utilities. No wonder the walled city smells like that. I don't think Raymond had anything to do with the utilities in the walled city. So if this man was not in charge of the utilities for the project, what was he doing down there? I don't know, but Edward Sang disappeared from the public eye shortly after Prosperity was completed, around 2031. That's about the time he moved to Seattle, around 7 years before he found us. But what happened in the walled city? And what would make Raymond want to go back in there now, after all these years? I don't know, but I intend to find out. Everybody's going back to their stuff. Do we get payment for that? I was like, I'm not sure that Isabel is paying us. Oops. You find Wu sitting on his bed, staring at the floor when you come to his cabin. He rubs his head up and back, occasionally stopping to softly bounce his palm against his forehead. When he notices you, he closes his eyes and shakes his head. Not in the mood to talk right now. Gotta wrap my brain around this Edward Sang thing. It's tough finding out that Raymond isn't who he thought he was. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was thinking. 16 years. We lived with him 16 years and we never knew the man. 16 motherfucking years. I just gotta think. Work through this. Isabel half turns away from the octopus's main display. She looks up at you, blinking. The memory stick that you acquired from Rhombus has already been slotted into one of the computer's many expansion ports. The cherry red plastic that sheaths the stick looks slick and wet in the light. Did good back there. The run went well. Her eyes flit down to the memory stick. We got the stick. Key to my old memories. All I have to do now is slot it. You haven't unlocked your old memories yet? No, not yet. I mean, I can. It'd be as simple as plugging myself in and tapping a key. My old memories are all mine if I want them. But you're not sure that you want them. She nods. That's about the shape of it. Feeling hesitant about this. It isn't easy, you know. Shifting organic memories into headwear storage, wiping the originals, locking them away for safekeeping. That's corporate level mind sculpting. Serious business. Locking the files away was important to you. I got that. Very important. If it wasn't, I wouldn't have let an amateur tinker with my brain in the corner of a derelict shopping mall. Whatever I've got up there, I was desperate to get rid of it. Makes a girl wonder why. Tell me, Isabel, would it have been easier for you to have Rhombus just wipe the memories altogether? She blinks. Yes, much easier. Still not without risk, but you didn't do that. You had to move the memories into storage. Why? Just a long pause. Because I knew that one day I might need them. Were you wrong about that? You tell me. No, damn it. Of course I wasn't. But you don't have to be so glib about that. I was trying to not be... I was trying to let you get there. Another long pause. Isabel stares at her feet, thinking. Finally, she looks back up at you. You're right. I know that. I knew it before we went to get the code. I just needed to talk through it with someone. Not Gobbet. Someone who could take the situation seriously. I needed to talk through it with you. Hey, that's what I'm here for. Without another word, she pulls a cable from a pile on the floor and slots it into her data jack. The other end disappears into one of the octopus's many brains. Her fingers fly across the octopus's keyboard, rattling off a series of audible clicks. Finally, her thumb hovers over the execute key. Alright, Cade. Wish me luck. The key depresses with an audible click. Isabel's eyes flutter, and her cheeks flush with blood. Oh, no. No, 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 no. She starts shaking her head from side to side, wringing her hands. A progress bar on the octopus's auxiliary monitor slowly climbs. Oh, fuck! You got this, Iz. Don't back down now. So thanks for the tip, and I'm not backing down. It's almost done. Progress bar climbs to 100. Isabel snatches the cable back out of her data jack, covers her eyes with her hands. She's shivering. She clutches her temple in the palms of her hands. Now I remember why I didn't want these anymore. Bad stuff, huh? That's an understatement. This isn't okay. Not at all. I can remember things that happened to friends of mine, to relatives, things that I watched happen. No. It's okay, Isabel. Breathe. They're just memories. They can't hurt you. Yes, they can. Voice is ragged, raw. These memories are crystal clear. It's like all of this shit happened yesterday. I can remember watching friends die. I can see their screaming faces just as clearly as I did the day it happened. It's like watching a Trid show, but it's my life, and it's real. Isabel, focus. Is there anything in there that can help us? She screws her eyes shut in concentration. Beads of sweat hang heavy on her brow. I think so, yes. It'll take time for me to shift through all this. She opens her eyes again, looks up at you. I hold on to these memories for as long as I can. Hopefully long enough to reveal something useful. No promises beyond that, though. I'm not asking for promises. Just do your best. She gives you a weak half smile. I always do. One thing that does jump out at me. Rhombus archives some software up here. She taps her temple with a fingernail. It's sitting on top of the memories, all wrapped up like a present. Don't know why he did it, but it looks like a combat package. Combat package, you say? She nods weakly. Some sort of basic attack modification. I'll have to study it to be sure, but I think that I could use it. Well, that's some good news. Yeah, it's all very exciting, but for now, just give me some space, okay? Turns away, shivering. Like I said, it's going to take time for me to make sense of this stuff. I'll give you some space then. She waves you away. Good. Go. Now. As you enter Gobbet's cabin, you unlock Isabel's loyalty ability. Two things grab your attention. The first is Gobbet herself. She looks exhausted, bleary-eyed. The easy smile that you've come to associate with her is nowhere to be seen. The second is what she's doing. Gobbet appears to be in the middle of a valiant attempt to stuff a whole roasted duck into a saucepan half its size. The bird's rubbery neck flops from side to side with every heave of her shoulders. She looks up from the saucepan, blinking. A corner of her mouth twitches upward, but the half-smile falls away almost immediately. Oh, hey, Seattle. Caught me at a bad time. I was just making dinner. Yeah, it looks that way. Wouldn't that work better if you cut it into smaller pieces first? Huh? She blinks down at the duck and her mouth dips into a spoon. Yeah, that'd probably be smarter, wouldn't it? I'm not really thinking clearly today. Feeling okay? You don't look well. She rubs the bridge of her nose with a pair of greasy fingers, leaving smudges of duck fat behind. It's weird. Ever since the last lesson, I've felt, I don't know, preoccupied with the sinking ship. I don't really do the whole haunted by the demons of my past thing. I mean, that's fine for some people, but I'm allergic to drama. Generally, when thoughts of my past get me down, I remind myself that it doesn't matter, laugh it off, and go have a snack. But this, I don't know. It's weird. Ever since the last lesson, I haven't been able to get the sinking ship out of my mind. She looks down at the pot full of mangled duck on the counter, closes her eyes. I guess I'm just worried about Cad and Mal. Which is weird, because why would I be? I mean, I haven't even spoken to them in years. Hell, if anything, they should be worried about me. I'm the one who gets shot at for a living. Maybe we should go check it out. Sinking ship isn't far, is it? No, no, I don't want to do that. At least not without a good reason. It'd be awkward, and I'm sure that it's nothing anyway. Actually, check that. I know what this is. It's my own personal version of the same thing we're all feeling. Psychic sewage is being dredged up in all of us by whatever's happening in the walled city. I'm sure that you've had some flashes of memories from the Barrens in your bad dreams, right? Images from your past come back to haunt you. But you aren't going to drop everything and go running back there, because that would be dumb. So tell me, why should I? Well, because the sinking ship is like 15 minutes from here. Couldn't hurt to check. Look, I don't want to go back there if I don't have to. If thinking about the place is enough to mess with me like this, I don't want to know what being there would do. But I'll tell you what, I'll drop Melvina a line just to check in. Make sure this is a me problem and not a them problem. And if there is something going on, I'll promise you'll be the first to know. Alright, Goblin, that's the way you want to play it? It is. Now, was there anything else you wanted? Or can I get back to my duck? Any thoughts about the last run? Isabel and her stupid rivalry with Rhombus. I can't believe she actually still cared about all that bullshit between them. Honestly, I think maybe she had a crush on him or something. Why else would they ask like that? I mean, I guess getting her memories back is a good idea, but it would have been better not to lock them up in the first place. Yeah, maybe Rhombus was a jerk and how he gave advice, but she killed his cat, Seattle. Would you let that fly? Because I sure as hell wouldn't. Whatever. So if it was worth that hassle. She said she didn't kill it, and I believe her because she would be a really bad person if she did. So what else did you want to chat about? Yeah, sure. Seattle, everything will be fine. You'll see. If there is anything fishy happening on the sinking ship, you and Iz will be the first to know. I promise. Okay. We'll finish. We'll just go talk to the crew, or the rest of the squad, rather. Hey, Rector. Please, my friend, not now. Really must ready ourselves for the run. Okay, so he's at his mission point, which is where we were with Isabel before, where she wouldn't talk to us about anything until we did our run. Will not rest until my research has been recovered. I'm afraid that you will find me a poor conversationalist until my goals have been achieved. Alright. The cabin is a far better state than it was previously. The heat has been adjusted down and the ventilation restored. Boxes of junk and parts have been stacked and neatly arranged. Gaichu's small amount of personal gear is tucked away in a corner. There's a small mat in the center of the cabin that looks like it doubles as both a rug and a sleeping pad. Again, there's still a bed here. Gaichu is seated in the lotus position, eyes closed. His fingertips rest on a braille reader that is plugged into his PDA. The device fills the room with a soft clicking from the pin combinations. As you approach, he lifts his hands from the reader's surface. Hello again, Cade. Is there something I can assist you with? Looks like you've carved out a nice little spot here. If you say so. I doubt it would be suitable for others, but I do not require much by way of space, and have few possessions. So long as I have a quiet area in which I can sit and relax, I am happy. Now, what is it that you wish to discuss? What were you reading? Gaichu draws himself up, folding his palms in his lap. With one toe, he pushes the braille reader away. It is called Hagakure, Hidden Leaves, written by Yamamoto Tsunetomo as a treatise on what it means to be a samurai and how one should best serve one's lord. Required reading for the Red Samurai, unsurprisingly. Reliving old memories? Not so much old memories as old lessons. Gaichu smiles sharply, running a claw across the line on his jaw. I have many scars to remember my mistakes by, and each one seems to evoke a passage from the book. The author has a central thesis. When there is a question of life or death, always choose death. Throw oneself into the fray with no resignations, and act on instinct alone. My current state of affairs speaks to the truth of this more robustly than any lesson in a dojo. What's the rest of the book about? Gaichu ticks off the points by unfurling successive fingers. It is partly a manual for proper behavior toward one's lord, partly a rumination on the mindset required to be victorious in combat, and partly a collection of stories. Tsunetomo believes that to truly embody the virtues of a samurai, adherents should be mindful of their path at all times, never stop training, always question how one's actions reflect on their lord. Above all, be prepared to do your duty instinctively at any time, no matter what the cost. That sounds like a dangerous path to walk. I am certain it is, but what choice do I have? Without a cure for my condition, all that I am able to do is embrace the reality of what I have become. It does not seem like that much of a choice at all to me. What does he say about masterless samurai like you? 7 times down, 8 times up. Kaichu smiles thinly, wrapping a claw on the hilt of his sword. More specifically, if a samurai has not been a ronin at least 7 times, then he has not truly lived as a samurai. Those were different times, however. It was common for samurai to fall out of favor with their lord and be turned loose to wander. For company men like myself, the choice is serve or die. Is there anything else you would like to discuss? We were talking about your father bailing you out of jail. Ah, yes, I do recall you asking about that. Gaichi's redness is palpable in the long silence that follows. He does not continue. If you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to. Gaichi sighs heavily, nodding. I have given you my word, and I intend to keep it. Do not be concerned, I simply have not spoken of my family in a long time. Bad memories? No, quite good ones actually. I haven't seen Yasujiro in many years, but that is my fault. We may not have seen eye to eye when I was young, but we came to an understanding. Eventually. Yasujiro gave me an ultimatum after my run-in with Shiawaze's security. He told me that he had to cut a backroom deal with a rival in Shiawaze to keep me out of prison. The charges would be suspended if I finished high school and studied at Kyoto University with the intent of joining Renraku. If I did not, Shiawaze would take me into custody and I would spend time in prison. What did that cost him? I have no idea. He refused to reveal what he had been forced to do in exchange, but I cannot imagine it was cheap. Insider information, perhaps? A deliberately botched contract? Yasujiro was a manager in the water and power divisions, so the deal would have been lucrative, but not secret. I had always taken my family for granted. Raised in a Renraku family, going to Renraku schools. I always had a sense of place, of belonging where I was. The thought of all that was vanishing. I simply could not imagine it. Suddenly, the reality of my actions became clear. Gaichi runs his fingers over his bald scalp, smiling distantly. From then on, I tried to be the son he wanted, and he seemed glad of it. We grew much closer over the next few years. He took time off to visit me when I was living in Kyoto. Why would that be unusual? He was a very busy man in those days. A lot of responsibility, very little time for himself. I was impressed that he could carve off as much time as he did, just to go camping with his son. A lot of nice buildings in that part of Japan, I bet. Very much so. The land around Kyoto is protected from development due to historical and cultural significance. Most of the mountains are considered sacred, so the Diet declared them a national preserve. We made several trips to the area between Kyoto and Nara, around the village of Iida. We camped in the mountains above it. We would hunt wild deer and boar there, using my family's antique arquebus. That's a strange choice of weapon. It is a choice of expediency. It's nearly impossible for a private citizen to own a firearm in Japan, which is why you may so often read of Yakuza attacks involving swords and cleavers. As the Tanegashima that my family owns from the 18th century, it is exempt from ordinary regulations. Gaichu chuckles softly to himself. Perhaps ironically, hunting with my father is how I learned to prepare raw meat. Strange to think that such activities served as training for my current state of affairs. So what's the process? How do you prepare it? Soak the meat in brined water. Simmer it at a low heat for several hours. Let it cool, and repeat the process over several days. Cannot get too hot, or I'm unable to eat it. The process brings out the collagen in the meat. When it is done, I spice it with ginger and Sancho pepper. Again, not too much. Mundane food is anathema to me. Sighing happily, Gauchi stares off into the distance. When he looks back, he smiles broadly at you. Those were good days. I am sorry I cannot go back to those times. When one joins the Red Samurai, one must give up all attachments of one's previous life. The company, the code, and the unit become the entirety of the world. Even your family ties have to be cut? Especially those. Anything that could distract from the mission must be purged. Commitment to the unit and the company must be total. Applicants must be human, Japanese, and utterly devoted to Renraku. Your unit becomes your family. Your commander is your father and mother, your teammate, your siblings. Red Samurai are not allowed to reveal our identities and position to anyone outside of the Special Operations Group. Even if we wanted friends outside the unit, we could not have them. So how did you end up joining the Renraku military? Ah, fair question given my youthful indiscretions. Gaichu leans back, his blind eyes turned toward the ceiling. Are you familiar with the Kempetai? No. What's that? The Kempetai are the political arm of the Japanese military. Much like the commissars of the Soviet Union, they are responsible for enforcing political and social orthodoxy. This is not just within the army, mind you. They also enforce certain laws with regards to the general populace. When I was enrolled at Kyoto University, I studied global security and political science. It is the major generally used as a gateway to private security. Global security, interesting major. Private security postings with both government and corporate militaries. I knew I wanted to fight. I was a young man and my blood was always up. One of the requirements was that students join the Youth Brigade Kempetai. The Youth Brigade is a bit like ROTC in North America, the Young Falcons in the Sioux Nation, or the District Officer Program in the Republic of Korea. Members learn to be soldiers without actually joining an army. They perform community service, promote civic pride. Performance and prestige in the Kempetai used to dictate later job opportunities, a bit like a good internship. You have to be a good fascist to get a good job. Let's go with it. That is an indelicate way to put it, but yes. I believe the purpose of the Youth Brigade is to teach students to glorify the state over the self. We did as we were taught, such as the way of authority on the young. Gaichi shrugs indifferently. What kind of things did you do? The details do not matter overmuch. Forced our way into homes under false pretenses to intimidate families. We encouraged children to inform on their parents, accepted bribes to look the other way if we were in the mood, or had people arrested for said bribery if we were not. Petty behavior, but such things were encouraged. When I was nearing graduation, I was approached by a recruiter with Renraku Security. She told me I came from a good family, could have a promising career with the company. She offered to fast-track my application toward a potential Red Samurai position. 3 years with the Renraku military as a junior officer, and guaranteed placement in a Red Samurai training billet of my choosing. The pay was good, and the excitement of being an elite was an attractive proposition. I accepted, but I did not truly understand what I was signing up for. As I told you before, they force you to give up everything except the company and unit. That was made clear to me, but I did not truly understand it. Did you regret your decision? On the whole, no. I do not know what I would have been had I not joined. Perhaps there are things that I miss, but regret is perpetual. One is always tempted to ask, what if? But that is a trap. Gaichu wraps 2 knuckles on his breastplate. This is who I became. The armor was my protection and my identity. The training was extremely difficult, both mentally and physically. I knew that I would be isolated from my old life, but I did not anticipate the full extent of that isolation. All Red Samurai recruits report to a facility called the Forge in Chiba. You are assigned a unit, you and 4 other recruits, and for the next 2 years the Forge will be your home in prison. Shaking his head wistfully, Gaichu snorts. It seems ridiculous in retrospect. We were all so young. None of us had an idea what we were doing, except trying to become the best soldiers in the world. And yet those strangers became my new family, in the absence of the old. Tell me about the members of your unit. We're just gonna keep going. Gaichu wriggles his nose as if smelling something foul. A chapter of my life is over and done with. They are no longer part of that world. Why would you care about any of that? You said they became your surrogate family. That's important. You make a wise point. Commanders should know their soldiers as well as they know themselves. Very well. Gaichu looks down at his hands, picking something out from beneath one claw. Continues to look at his hands while he speaks. When I was younger, I would have more readily cut off my fingers than tell you what you ask. You must understand that secrecy is absolute among the Red Samurai. Your identity becomes secret, erased from any database that might connect you to the Red Samurai. You only use your code name when in the field, and your given name is known only to your commanders and your unit. Even other Red Samurai units have no idea who you really are. Finally looking out from his hand, Gaichu leans back against the boxes. Contact with the outside world is cut off completely. Even once training is over, your communications are restricted. Maintaining relationships outside of those you work with is frowned upon. It sounds horribly isolating. By design, it is. It forces recruits to bond with their unit and transfer every emotion they have for their old friends and family to the unit they must work with. If there is a tighter bond among any other Special Forces units, I would be surprised. Red Samurai units are always 5 members, one of whom is a spellcaster. During training, each member takes turns being commander. The most competent is given the billet permanently upon graduation. Why don't they assign a more seasoned commander? The way I've heard it, they worried that it would lead the commander thinking of the unit as an asset to be used rather than a family to protect, that they would see themselves as above the team. I have no idea if that is true or not, but that is what I've heard. Ishida was our commander. He came from a rich family in Saitama, kind of family where he was given every advantage possible, with the expectation that he would keep the family name prestigious. He was older than the rest of us. He'd already spent 6 years in the army, a very severe man, rarely given to humor. Takagawa was usually the second in command. As our designated marksman, he tended to have a better tactical view of how an operation should be run, simply because he needed to study the terrain more. He loved to get us laughing. Without him, I think it would have gone crazy in the first few months. Our mage's name was Sasaki. She had been in training as a Miko, an apprentice priestess, when her magic began to manifest. She was in the unit for the challenge and for the money. Her family had always been poor, and they'd always told her she would never amount to anything. I think she joined the Red Samurai just to prove to them that she could do anything she wanted. Was she hard to work with? Gaichu smiles distantly. No, actually, quite the opposite. She was excellent at encouraging us to go above and beyond what we thought ourselves capable of. I think part of her secret was that she never actually questioned if she could accomplish any of her goals. She simply assumed it was inevitable. Our heavy gunner's name was Aomori. He kept the team honest with itself. He never had a disparaging word for anyone, but would not hesitate to call someone out for their behavior. Sasaki loved that about him. Really, she loved all of him. The two were discreet, but discretion only goes so far in such a small team. Still, we respected their privacy where possible. Is that kind of thing allowed? If the unit commander allows it, yes. We were given incredibly wide leeway in what to allow or forbid in our unit, the belief being their results were the only thing that mattered. If the unit failed, it would fail as a whole. Sasaki and Aomori were crazy about each other. It would have been done more harm to keep them apart. Lastly, there was me. I was the close quarters breaching expert, the first man in the door when we had to clear a room. I was the perfectionist in the team. Aomori could get us to do anything, but I was the one who made certain we did it well. With style. How do you mean? If a thing is worth doing, it is worth doing well. If that thing is also your duty, it is worth doing perfectly. Many times we would perform a drill or exercise well enough, but that was not good enough if I had to trust my life to it. That was why we became one of the best teams in the organization's history. Sounds like you missed them. Gaichu growls, tone annoyed. Of course I do. They were my family for 8 years. Who wouldn't miss that? That sense of belonging and shared values. Even if I were to be cured, I can never go back. They have been disgraced, and I have done unforgivable things. I have been cast out for good. What do you mean? Gaichu closes his eyes, sighing through his nose. When they ambushed me in Fukuoka, it was a fight or die. I killed 2 of them before I escaped. I will not be returning to the unit, no matter what. He opens his eyes after a moment, shudders slumping. It's not an easy memory to grapple with. That's fine, Gaichu. Take your time. Thank you, Cade. Sorry I cannot talk about it now, but I need to process the emotions. They are still raw. I'm tired. Come back later and we can talk more. Alright. So we talked to everyone in here. We'll have to go talk to everyone outside. Oh god, people got leveled up. Oh boy. Alright, we'll do that next time as well. Probably start with that. At least we're down to 3 missions. We didn't get an extra mission here. So that's something. We're reducing the numbers. Okay. Yeah. So I will stop here. Thanks everyone who joined me tonight for Shadowrun Hong Kong. Hope that we will be back next Tuesday. Don't have anything as far as I know, so. Oh, look at the kitties. Let's go to the schedule. So I will be gone tomorrow, I think. Thursday, hopefully I'll stream something. I might not, depending. But then if I do, I'll have to decide what we're going to stream. But definitely be back on Friday. More Pathologic. Very excited about that. Got to update this image again. I haven't done it yet. But like I said the other night, Saturday is going to be starting King of Dragon Pass, which is exciting, cool. This is the rest of the schedule. Schedule also below the stream. You can follow for notifications when I go live. You can sub for emotes on my cats. I had both of them on tonight. Yeah, I appreciate everybody who hangs out and chats. It's a lot of fun for me. Hope it's fun for you, and I hope you join me again in the future. Good night.
So long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. I say so long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. It's been great to play and sing together
In the box.
and now it's time to say goodbye. So long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. Goodbye for now, until we meet again.